Hello, Spartan.
Jesus.
Oh, sorry.
What's happening, friends? Mike here, and I am joined by Daniel, a.k.a. Knottian. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Good to be on the second extended E3 thing. So it's been a weird week.
Glad to have you. And once again, I'm also joined by Doncabes, a.k.a. Jesse. Or maybe it's the other way around. But hey, how you doing, man? Happy to have you here.
Good. You can never get rid of me. I'm always here.
Okay, thanks for letting me know about the audio being really loud. And yeah, chat, let us know about the audio. Thanks. Is that you, Jesse?
Screw it. Do it live.
So, real quick. God damn it, cat, get out of here. I have 2 inches between me and the microphone, and they still choose to try to jump in between.
It's cat life.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, it looks like
We're starting up.
all right, here we go. I was hoping to get thoughts on what to expect, but
Yeah, I think I don't know that there's going to be much new, if anything. Major Nelson said some new stuff, but I think it's just going to be new info about things we already know.
Yep.
It's not going to be new announcements. It's just deeper dives, which is funny because people like Digital Brown are like, man, really wish we could have gotten more deep dives on stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, that's why they're doing this. They give you that banger of a show, and then they get the deep dives after. It's going to be a non-stop information.
I never understood why people expect or want deep dives on stage at an E3 because they're designed to show you a ton of content. Otherwise, I mean, to me, a deep dive in an E3 says you don't have much to show. Because a deep dive should be left for outside of the stage.
No, we did not, Sugarbrute. I don't think we did. I think by deep dive, how I take that is what they did with Forza.
Right, but I think that's what I was kind of alluding to the other day when we did our 2018. I think Abe mistook what I was asking about when I said, how do we feel about CG versus gameplay and deep dives and whatnot? Is that by definition, you can't do a deep dive on every. Yeah, I mean, you could.
Not every. No, that's not realistic. And I mean, I really hate bringing up the competition and whatnot, but if you look at the 2018, was it 2018 or 2017? 2018 Sony press conference where they did deep dives on 4 games. They had some others games sprinkled in there, but I don't think that universally. I think it was agreed that wasn't a great conference for them, even if you ignore moving venues for whatever reason. So I don't think people. I hope people aren't expecting for deep dives on everything or even most things, but I think the Stalker 2 trailer was the perfect balance between a dive, showing gameplay, showing a lot of scenarios. Oh, here's the man himself.
Welcome to Xbox Game Showcase
on the stage where everyone else was.
I'm your
That's crazy.
host, Parris Lily. You may also know me from Gamertag Radio
is
and
the-
Kind of Funny. I'm excited
Was the chat
to be
off
here with
for you guys?
Today. We just saw a recap of Sunday's Xbox Showcase.
No,
and
his voice,
wow,
his
30
voice to
games
his
from some
mouth.
of the world's most
No,
talented
it looks
developers,
it's working
and
fine for me.
27
Why
of
is it
those
off
games
for me?
Are coming to you on Xbox Game Pass.
Great.
We saw the first in-engine footage of Starfield and learned that
It's so good seeing
Bethesda
Parris on
is
that
bringing it
stage.
to Xbox, PC, and day one on Game Pass exclusively.
We
They
could technically
also
call
showed
him
us
friend of the
Battlefield
site.
2042,
He has agreed to do the
Sea of
main
Thieves,
podcast
A
eventually.
Pirate's Life,
He
Stalker
was going to
2,
do it, except for then he
Psychonauts 2,
ended up going to film
and how
this.
about Redfall? Like they said, this year, Xbox is all about the games. Today, Xbox Game Showcase Extended is our chance to hear from the developers behind the games that are redefining interactive entertainment. Developers like Double Fine, Playground Games, Supergiant, Rare, 343 Industries, and more. We also have a new accessory design program to share with you, and a couple of other cool surprises. That's enough talk. Let's jump right in.
Accessory design program, so we're getting the design labs back.
Actually, it has been quite a while.
Been a wee bit, yeah.
get it.
You can see it for yourselves.
Talking
Forza
over
Horizon
DCA.
5 looks phenomenal.
Okay, I'm gonna try
and here with us
refreshing.
today, all the way from the UK, is Mike Brown from Playground Games. Now, Mike, Forza Horizon has taken driving
Still on.
fans to Colorado,
I don't get
France, Italy, Australia, and the UK. How did you decide on Mexico for Forza Horizon 5?
Yeah, so we knew right from the start that we wanted it to be the largest Horizon yet. But it's not far down the path from that you realize you don't want to go big if it's just going to be more of the same. So we also knew that it needed to be the most contrasting, most diverse open world we'd ever built. And then when you start to look at Mexico, it really is like the whole world in
YouTube
one
compression.
country.
My goodness.
It's got snowy peaks, tropical jungles,
freaking premieres
epic
at 1080,
canyons,
man.
amazing
They need to figure out a way
beaches,
to do
beautiful
premieres at 4K.
architecture, incredible
Yeah, it's
historic
the thing-
cities, but also
yeah,
modern
it's the thing
cities
that
as
I
well.
miss about
It really
Mixer.
has everything.
You know,
Yeah.
because
And
going
then
back
you
to
add in
watch
the culture, the
E3
music, the
presser
artwork, the people,
in
the
4K
history.
was
And
a revelatory
there really
experience.
is no
I mean,
more
it already
exciting
like,
location for the Horizon
Like
Festival.
in 1080, this
Now
thing,
that we're in
this looks
Mexico,
awesome. And then
what
at
are
4K,
some of
like,
the
holy
authentic
shit,
This is
elements that we
unbelievable.
can expect in the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So
I did
we've
like
got
that,
the largest and
you know,
most
he
diverse
mentioned
world we've
specifically
ever
that
built. And as I
it's
mentioned
not
just a moment ago,
about
something
creating
that really
a
excited us about Mexico is the culture.
more,
so
you
we've
know,
worked with
spacious,
creatives from all
world,
across
but
Mexico.
you have to have
We've had
density.
Mexican
You have to
artists
have
produce beautiful mural
elements
artwork that you'll find on the walls
aren't
around
just,
the game.
you know, like
We've
how many
worked
games
with
that are
Mexican
are
music
2K?
artists to produce original compositions for the
Subtitles on,
game.
Mike.
We've worked with Mexican
got 'em.
scriptwriters and actors so that all of those
For people
Mexican
watching
voices
so they
you hear
can
in the
tell
game will
what people
sound
are saying
really
behind us.
authentic. And perhaps not as
They actually
obvious,
have, like,
but
a
the
lot
other
of-
thing that is super
I
authentic
can't turn that on
is
the way that
all
it
of
has
our
it set
light
in
data and
OBS.
skies. So we had a team out in
stupid OBS
Mexico
hates people
with our
who
12K HDR sky
But
capture rig.
oddly,
We
like,
captured more
the
than
audio is
400
off sync
hours
for
of
me when
sky
I
data, and then we
view it
recreate that in
through,
game. So all of the light, the shadows,
OBS, but
the
it's
color
fine in the actual
information,
stream. Sorry about
all
the
of it is
refresh,
recreated in game
unnecessary
based on real
refresh.
light data captured
Yeah,
from
sorry,
Mexico.
Sucker Brood, I'm
So
seeing it
everything
now.
you're
I don't know
seeing there is-
why.
just has that real authenticity, that feeling of reality.
Well, that makes me happy.
We
though.
got a peek at
Event
Event Lab. Now,
is like
what can
the
you tell
Super
us about
7
that?
was just like this
Yeah,
little
so
tiny
Event Lab is a
peek of what they were
really
trying to do with
exciting
this, and really
new
cool.
Right.
suite of tools
Yeah, me
that
too.
will allow people in the
It's funny
community to
too.
create
You know, the
whatever
first
they
thing
can
I thought
imagine,
about with
really.
this was
If we look at the
Halo
video
5
right now,
right?
all of
Yeah.
this that we see has been
It's
built
nice to see
using that
that,
Event Lab
that
tool
other
set.
teams
The
around
bowling pins that have been
XGS
placed.
are
So someone's gone
taking
they've
some of
placed
those
those, and then they've
elements.
created rules that touch on them as well.
Well, the
So
first thing that I
as we see,
saw-
every time
the
they're hitting
first thing
them,
I actually thought
a
about
rule has been
was,
set up such that it
Dirt
gives
5 has
players points. And then
almost
also in that
exactly,
clip, you can see that everyone else in that
the same
multiplayer
mode,
session is hitting bowling pins
where you
as well.
basically
And
make,
all
like,
of that is adding into a
challenges,
collective team
arenas,
score. The rules could have easily been set up so that it
races,
wasn't a team score.
I don't
that
know
it
if
was
you can
competitive.
do actual
all of
races,
that creative
but
freedom
you can
is
do,
open to players. It's as a game designer,
challenges
I think
and
it's
stuff.
the feature that I'm most excited about in Forza Horizon 5.
And I would say, as a gamer,
need
it's
to
a
play more
feature I'm
Dirt 5.
definitely excited about.
It's
'cause
so
it
good.
really is going to
I-
open
the
up some
only
unique
issue I have
features
with it
between
is,
me and my friends. Now,
like,
with the power of the Xbox
the
Series
challenges
X
off to the
and
side,
the S, what
they're
are
not
some of the
required,
new
but they kind of
technical
give you a little
features
bit more
that we can
credit or
expect?
points.
Yeah.
So
And,
in Forza Vista, we're really able to turn up everything, ramp everything on, turn on ray tracing.
Yeah, he
and we have
literally
the
said
cars
in
looking
Forza
more
Vista we can
realistic than
turn
they
on
ever
ray
have before.
tracing.
But
It's
parallel
not going to be in
detail.
any other
But
mode.
that detail
Right, and
does
I'm
apply to
fine
the
with
rest
that.
of the
I think
world as
people
well.
are going to
During
realize
the
that ray
Xbox E3
tracing
showcase the other
is
day,
great
I
when
mentioned we
utilized,
modeled
and
the
it'll get
detail and
better
everything right down
with
to the individual needles
updates
on
and
the
tools
Troy
and
cactus.
with
That was
utilization
just
with
the
FSR
plans that
or
happened to be
DirectML.
closest to the
But
camera
really,
at that point.
the things that make
that
this
level of
game
detail
pop
is applied to
and
everything that you
stun
see.
have nothing to do with
Thanks
ray
to the
tracing.
power of the
It is
Xbox Series
the
consoles,
texture
it's not just
detail,
things that are
it is
right in front
the
of the camera as
fluidity
well.
of the
We've really got to push
frames,
out all of
it's,
the LODs and the
all
draw
these
distance
other
and everything
elements.
so that everything in the scene is full of that detail.
I think a large part of it is the
As I
tech is
mentioned earlier, we
still
capture that light data from
in
Mexico,
development, you
so
know,
you get
'cause,
this
like, this
realistic
is like
lighting,
an
shadows,
in-between
AO, all of
between
it comes together to create a scene
what we saw in
that just
Forza
looks
Horizon
real.
4 and what
Now,
we're going
Mike,
to see in Forza
when
Motorsport.
can the world expect to play Forza Horizon
hopefully
5?
next year.
Sure. So
Yeah,
we're
and I
launching
always
this
remind
holiday
people,
on the
remember how
Xbox Series consoles,
Forza
the
Horizon
Xbox
2
One
was
consoles,
kinda
we're on
groundbreaking
PC,
when it came
on both
out,
the Windows
and
10
that
Store
was on
and
Xbox
Steam.
One
Of
hardware.
course, we're in Game Pass
And then
and Game Pass
Forza
Ultimate.
Horizon 4,
and
even on
players
base
on your
hardware,
Android device with
looks
Xbox Cloud
like
Gaming.
almost like a generational
And
leap.
players who
you know?
purchase the
We're
premium
probably
edition
gonna see
or
something
if they're a Game Pass subscriber and get the premium add-ons bundle, you'll get early access as well. So you'll be able to play a little bit earlier than everybody else.
Now, Mike, this was a huge moment for you and the team. What does this mean to you?
Yeah, well, for me personally, I mean, I've been working on the Forza franchise for a really, really long time. But this is my first game as creative director. So in this period over the last few days and week or so, as people are seeing it for the first time, for me, it's probably been one of the most exciting experiences of my life. It's been absolutely incredible.
Again, Mike, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Later in the show, we'll be hearing from the developers behind games like Age of Empires 4, Shredders, and Grounded. But first, the team at Ninja Theory has something to share with you. Here's to me, Chief Creative Ninja, to explain what they've been hard at work on for Hellblade 2.
Very nice.
Hello everyone,
if you get
and
the
welcome to our brand spanking
Ultimate
Ninja
Pack,
House
I think,
in Cambridge.
Ursel.
Yeah, 4 days early on Horizon if you get the bigger editions, or you can spend $30 for a DLC pack that gives you early access to your Game Pass.
Before we then move into full production to build out the rest. Hellblade was very special for us, and we didn't want to do a straight sequel. We wanted to do something extra special, and so we're making our lives as difficult as possible in that pursuit. The game is set in Iceland, 9th century Iceland, so we've been sending out art and audio teams out there, doing photography, photogrammetry, and combining it with satellite data to recreate large swathes of the landscape. On the character front, we're building real costumes, scanning them in. We're collaborating with Epic Games to bring you next-generation digital characters. On the combat front, we want it to be extra real and brutal. And so Melina, our main actress, has been training for 2 years, and all of our animators have undergone combat training. And so what you're going to see here is not a trailer, it's not a gameplay reveal, but rather a montage of the kind of work we've been up to. Hope you like it.
That's awesome. As far as I'm concerned, they can take their time.
Yeah.
Because everything they've made.
There's so much coming, man.
Yeah, there's so much coming, but everything that Ninja Theory's made, to me, like, I still gawk over Ninja Theory's or Enslaved. You know, it's one of those games that push the boundaries of a great combat and gameplay system with a great narrative, and Hellblade, you know, is amazing. So take your time, make it beautiful, make it groundbreaking, you know.
By land and dreams, through the valleys of despair, over the mountains of rage, to the depth of fear in my mind.
I do have to say, my wife is always saying that to me reminds her of Johnny Ive.
I will show you what lies behind my
From where?
eyes.
From Apple, what used to be at Apple. You know, he's the designer who talks about the reviews of the product.
Oh, the one that's always talking slowly while there's like 3D renders.
Yeah, to me, not that that's bad.
We will embrace our suffering.
Even though they're not showing anything really, like they're showing a lot, but this is just pure hype. When you consider,
people are going to be breaking this video down when I got all the little things.
oh yeah, right. And when you consider how much Ninja Theory has punched above their weight when they've been limited on resources and money and everything, and then now with all the time and backing, like this is going to be one of the premier games to showcase, like, you know, what those resources can do.
Hey, it's back.
Yep.
What's back?
Design Lab.
Oh, you guys are ahead of me.
Yeah, how are you ahead, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm on the Xbox channel and I press watch video.
I'm on. So am I.
You're still like 2 or 3 seconds ahead of me.
Then I won't check this.
Thank you. That'd be nice.
Spoilers, dude.
I need
no pedals, no trip.
Yeah, I'm the same way. For anything with dual where you need to use both sticks to aim and move, I can't not use an elite.
Yeah.
See, I almost don't want to get an elite for that reason. I've heard so many people say that once they get used to the elite,
can't go back.
They can't go back without the pedals.
If you're going to play with the Halo or you're going to play with Battlefield, it's infinitely better than not having one.
Oh, I bet it is.
That's my wife. She won't play Sea of Thieves or Fallout without it.
And that is Xbox Design Lab. And here to tell us more about Xbox Design Lab,
I actually started getting worried about
Kumar.
Microsoft recently because they haven't shown any new controllers on a presentation.
Xbox Design Lab.
So
Design Lab is a controller customization service on Xbox.com.
All the controllers.
Where you can choose nearly
It would
any
be
color
nice.
combination
That
you
electric
want
green
for your
design
controller
lab
and really
with,
make it yours.
with an Elite.
You can design a controller based
Yeah,
off your favorite
that's
video
probably
game
taking
character,
it a
your
bit too
favorite
far.
sports team, or whatever
Yeah, I'm
inspires
sure.
you. You can
I
think
mean,
of
I'm
Design
sure
Lab
it's
as your
so
own personal
small,
design studio.
comparatively.
We've originally launched
of a-
Design
of a
Lab
market
5
that
years ago and
it
have since
probably
sold
costs
millions
far
of
too much.
controllers to
Electric green
fans
one is
around
so
the
nice.
world. But then we had to take
got
a
it from my
pause
wife.
as we brought
Hey,
up
John.
our latest generation of Xbox hardware. But now we're back offering customization
What's
of
up,
the
John?
latest generation Xbox wireless controller.
Now, we
That's a
have
really
so many
leader
awesome
here.
controllers here right now.
You
Can you
control
kind
it,
of
it
talk a
feels
little bit
cheap.
about them?
Yeah, well, right off the bat, you
Effectively
can see
make
there's
things up.
tons of color options to choose
shape.
from. For most of
You
the
know,
parts on the controller,
and the
you
crazy
can
thing-
choose
something
among
that
18 different
feels
colors
cheap
for all the
and is
different
cheap,
pieces on the
personally,
exterior.
but, you know.
What?
3 of those colors are brand new to Design Lab.
Oh,
We have
I don't-
Shock
maybe
Blue,
I don't-
Nick's
Pulse Red,
comments
and my personal
about,
favorite,
about
the
how
Electric Volt
the
color.
other
Most of the
controller
colors
feels premium, but
include
it's
post-breaking
breaking
recycled
across
resins
the
in them.
board, so-
there's a
Well, that's because
portion
it has
of
more
things
moving
that are
parts.
ground
More
up,
moving
like
parts
Yes,
means
automotive
more points of
headlights,
failure.
More
recycled
unnecessary-
water bottle jugs,
more
things that
unnecessary
make the controller more
complexity.
eco-friendly.
Well,
We also have new
Games are
button
gonna
options
use
Come
for
on.
the
Games
ABS
are gonna
Y
use
button
I would
set,
take, well,
the
like
VMA
haptic's
share,
not breaking anything. I wouldn't
including a
mind
really
haptic,
cool
but
button
those-
option
those
for
plastic trigger
ABXY
stops
that's a
that were
throwback to
breaking
the
the
original
most.
Xbox.
Yeah, and that's the
360
thing,
controller.
because that's-
So you gotta
that's-
check that out.
plastic.
And,
Those are- yeah, those
this
are
is
the
just
additional
beginning. We're
moving
excited
parts.
to introduce more
Unnecessary
customization
complexity.
options over time.
Now, two
Man.
of these controllers were inspired by
I'm not
games.
I'm not
Can you
against
talk about
pushing
that?
things forward.
Yeah,
I
so
I
there's
like
a-
the
No, I'm
idea.
not
I wouldn't
agreeing.
really
You just
that's
need to actually
inspired
make
by
it well.
Psychonauts 2.
Right.
We just love
Yeah.
the key art for
No,
that
I-
one.
I like
so
the
we work with our
ideas.
partners
I like
to develop a
because, like,
controller to help
choices,
bring that
but
to
I don't
life.
like
And there's
more things
also
that
one
break,
that's
and
inspired
last gen,
by
most
Grounded and
controllers
the
suck.
aphid
They
character
broke
from
all
that
the
game.
time.
We had a lot of fun in designing that as well. As a
Yeah.
controller
I mean,
kinda looks like an aphid
those
if you look
triggers
at it,
specifically,
from
I would
the right
use them in
angles.
some games
Now,
and not in
I
others. I
created
had a
my own
conversation
controller.
in
I'm gonna
one of
pick
my
it up
recent
now.
streams with Chad
I'm a
about that
huge
very
Los
thing.
Angeles Lakers
Like if it
fan.
was like a competitive
World
shooter,
champion
like
Los Angeles Lakers,
Yeah, you
and
can't.
my design
like
was
Call of
inspired
Duty,
by
then
that,
I would have
so
it turned
went
off
with the
because
yellow
I don't
on
want to
the
be in
front, I went with the
disadvantage
purple
because
on the
I have to.
back.
Yeah, you're fighting
I
it.
designed
Yeah,
the buttons
because I have
with the
resistance
black
on my
accent
triggers.
with
But
the,
if it was like
shoulders and the triggers,
single player
but I
game or a
also
horror game,
did an
yeah, I
inscription
can see
on it,
that.
and
But
my
like Jesse said,
inscription says,
I very much
"Cobb can't
rather
cook." And
than
that
put at
is
least the
inspired by my good
haptics. Like I'm
friend,
not so
Cody
bothered about
Fathom.
the triggers, but the
He does
haptics
a
seem like a really
fantastic
cool
show
idea.
called Spawn on Me.
Well,
That is
so
a
a
terrible
couple
cook.
things, like,
So
my
I
thing
want to
is,
make
like,
sure
I
that
don't ever
every
want
time I
my
pick up a
input
controller to
to
play
get
on
in between
Xbox,
me and the
I'm
game.
reminded how terrible
And
of a cook
too
he
many
is
times
and to avoid it at all
Sony's
costs.
gimmicks
But enough of
tend to
terrible
do so.
cooking.
Like playing.
Let's talk
playing
about something that
freaking,
you designed.
Last of Us.
Yeah, I
on,
designed this controller right in front of me
PS4
here.
versus PS3, where I
Again,
have
on my
to
favorite
shake
color,
the
this electric
controller
volt.
to
I
get
just
the-
love the way that the
flashlight
midnight blue
battery
accents pop
when
against it.
it
The
deems
dark
that it needs to be
ABXY colors.
shaken.
And this
I
one's
thought they had it in
inspired
the
by
three,
a
too.
pair of sneakers I have at home, so I had to make a controller based off that.
Man,
That's
that's
awesome.
nice.
Now, one last
Bam,
thing.
shadow drop.
When can fans expect to start designing their own Xbox controllers?
They can start today
There's
by
your
visiting
shadow drop.
xbox.com/xbox design
Spoilers.
lab. There's tons of
70
inspirations
bucks
to
an
choose
hour,
from.
Yeah, dude, you're a
Customization's
couple
really
seconds
fun,
ahead.
and we're shipping controllers
Pause
to
your shit.
U.S., Canada, and most Western European countries.
Slow
And,
your
these
roll.
are great gifts, whether it's for yourself or that special gamer in your life.
That is fantastic. Naveen, thank you so much for being
Oh,
here.
everybody talked about Halo again.
Later in the show, World's Edge will give us a deeper look at Age of
I hate
Empires
you.
4.
But the other thing is,
I was just waiting for
Giving us a
343 to
closer
pop
look
up. And
at Psychonauts 2.
hell yeah.
just ignore Jesse.
Hi, everybody.
See, and
I'm
you know
Tim
what,
Schafer
like,
from
okay,
Double
you
Fine
wanna talk
Productions here
about,
today to take a deeper look.
You know,
into
a deeper
Psychonauts
dive.
2.
I wish they would have done a
Psychonauts 2
deeper
is
dive
an
to Psychonauts 2
action-adventure game
because what they
starring
showed
Rasputin,
looked
a
amazing.
A powerful young
And
psychic,
Tim
also
Schafer
a trained acrobat, who ran away from the
is,
circus
you know,
home
he's
to join the
charismatic,
Psychonauts
he's
and
funny,
expand and
he's the perfect
explore his
person to
psychic
have like
abilities.
a
One of Raz's most important
I'm
psychic
sorry,
abilities is that
Forza
of
Horizon 5
projection,
type of
which allows him
follow-up
to
video
project
on it.
his psyche into someone else's
I
mind
think-
and
Well, I like
see
being
their
ahead of
mental
them and not
landscape
pausing.
made real. He can help them wrestle
think
with
the
their
other thing
inner
with
demons
Tim
and
that
fight
was
their
like, we
actual nightmares
if you
in
watch
person.
their channel, and
Which means that
whatnot,
the
they've kind of
levels in
been
the
doing,
game are actually brains.
deep dives
and
on the
Psychonauts 2 has
process and
even more
providing
brains than the first
elements
game.
of the
One of the
gameplay
first brains
over
you'll
the
get to
past few
visit is
months.
that of Caligosto
Yeah.
Lobato.
But I mean, E3
Dr.
brings
Lobato
that to
was
a
actually
wider
villain
audience.
in the first game.
Yeah,
But after
absolutely.
Raz
I
fought
just
him, they
think
kind
that,
of became friends. He actually has a
that's
piece of
kind of not
information that Raz wants,
necessarily
which is
their
who kidnapped
bag, maybe?
Truman Zanato. And Dr. Lobato wants to tell you,
You're
but
my-
he can't.
I mean, they're in
Because
this.
there's something going on deep in his unconscious mind.
Hear you what?
So Raz has to travel
Did you
along
hear me
with Sasha
typing?
and Mia and
No.
Coach Oleander into
Wanna
his
make sure it
mind
doesn't
and try
come
to
through.
extract that information.
No, I don't hear it.
And there's a lot of forces at work inside
According to
Lobato's
Soul,
mind,
ahead
and
of
maybe
almost
put there by
everyone
someone
watching
else
this. I
who are
should give
trying
you
to
guys
stop
my link.
you,
I'm living in
including
the
some
future.
of the enemies that you might
Shut
recognize
up.
from the first Psychonauts game, including the censors, entities designed to stamp out thoughts that don't belong in
Wasn't
someone's
funny the
mind,
first time.
including Raz, who doesn't belong here. They also see a lot of new enemies, such as doubts
game
and
looks
regrets.
so good
Lobato's mind is
graphically.
plagued with doubts and regrets. and
It's
they're
like
very
This is
beautiful.
very
dangerous for Raz.
Wasteland
Did I mention
3.
there's a lot
They
of teeth?
took
Have I
more
mentioned there's a lot of
time
teeth?
and
There's a lot of teeth. He's
Having way more
amateur
budget than they ever
dentist.
had.
He doesn't know a
Really
lot about
shows.
teeth, but he
Yeah.
really
Like
likes
the
them. Luckily, to fight all these enemies, Raz
office level they showed a couple
including his
years
powerful
ago.
psychic punch,
I mean, it
where he has these hands that
looked
extend
good,
psychically
but I mean,
from
this
his
is
body
a
into a powerful melee
clear-
combo.
It looked
He
like
also
a
has
good
a
indie
psychic
game.
blast where he can shoot a powerful energy beam
Yeah.
out of his brain.
It looked like what
Raz
it was
also has the
a
ability
really
of
talented
team
pyrokinesis.
making
It's
a
always handy to be
smaller
able to burn
budget
things with your
Kickstarter,
mind.
essentially. Was
And
big.
levitation.
Like
Raz
the
can use
material
his own
work here,
thoughts,
especially with
his
that bowling ball in the
thought bubble
trailer.
over his head as
The
a
way
ball
the
float around
lighting bounced off
or
of
ride
it
around on
and
to get somewhere
interacted
really
with the
quickly.
materials.
So with
It
these new
just-
powers, Raz can fight all these new enemies.
love the
And
colors.
hopefully find out who kidnapped Truman Zanotto. Now, while Truman's been kidnapped,
This
the
game's
person
gonna
running
be something
Psychonauts
special.
is Hollis Forsythe,
I mean, the first one
the second head
is
of the
one of those
Psychonauts.
games that I still
Hollis
reference.
is also the head of the intern program, which
time and
is
time
what
again,
Raz
people
joined
ask
now that he's
what's so great
become
about
part of
Double
the
Fine. I'm like,
Psychonauts.
well, from
And he's
the
invited
from the
into
get-go, their very
Hollis'
first
brain
game
for
was
instruction.
and
Hollis
still
is teaching him
is,
a new psychic ability called mental connection, where you can
pivotal
see two thoughts in someone's mind
showing
and
what you can
connect
do in
them,
3D
sometimes
platforming
creating new thoughts,
and storytelling
making
in the
new
same
things
in the same
happen.
vein.
While Raz is training in mental connection inside of Hollis' mental classroom, he experiments a little too far and accidentally, maybe slightly on purpose, creates a lot of interesting gambling inside of Hollis' mind because he wants to go
Lady
on the
Luctopus
mission to
Casino?
the Lady Luctopus Casino. Unfortunately, this
see
connection
how far ahead
leads
of
to
you I
more
am.
connections, and eventually
Dude,
the whole thing gets
yeah.
out of Raz's
You're
control.
like
and
3 or 4
Hollis gets
seconds.
way too
I
interested
waited
in
4
gambling,
seconds to say
and
that.
Raz has to go back into her mind,
You're still
where he
ahead.
finds out that her
What the hell?
memories of medical
Pause.
school and where she
Pause
studied
it.
neurology
Pause it. Count
have
to
been
5.
corrupted
Or you know
by
what?
this
Go-
gambling
pause it, go
interest,
take
and
a
it becomes
sandwich, or make a
casino
sandwich.
hospital. And
Come
Raz
back,
has to
and then
actually
maybe you'll
go
be in
in
line
there
with
and
us.
engage with all these
like 8
gambling
seconds
machines
ahead.
in order to shut it down and
So
return
growing
Hollis'
up
mind
in
back
Sea
to normal.
Springs, like
And she's gonna be.
there was
she's
there
gonna
was a
be really
section
mad.
around
Inside
town that
Hollis'
had
mind, you'll
neon
see
lights
bigger,
everywhere. So
tougher
this
sensors
is
that
all the
turn into
neon
bouncers
is,
inside the casino, and also a new enemy
it's
called Bad
nostalgic
Idea.
in a way
Bad
for me.
Ideas spawn
It's such a
actual
still
nasty looking
unique,
light bulbs over
like,
their head
art
that
style
become
that they
dangerous
use.
and
So
explosive and
yeah,
blow up in
you're-
Raz's face. Now,
I was like-
headquarters.
I
One of
was-
the things
was
that happens
disturbed
in
by it, but,
Psychonauts
like,
2 that's most exciting to
yeah.
Raz is that he gets to visit
Like,
the
this is another
headquarters
game
of
I
the
probably
Psychonauts
I wouldn't
themselves,
buy this,
which is called the
but I
Mother
will
Globe. This is the
definitely
center
probably
for
play the
all
entire
Psychonauts
thing right
activity,
away.
and
Oh,
Raz gets
I
to
still
see
plan to
his old
buy it.
friend Sasha and Mia,
yeah, me
who are
too.
counselors
Me
at
too.
Now,
Summer camp
is this
in the
running on
first game.
Unreal Engine
He now
4, or
gets
is
to see where
this
they
their own
work. He
engine?
gets to see their offices,
No, I
he
think
gets
this
to
is
see
their
their
own
labs,
engine,
he gets to
unless
see
I'm
their co-workers,
misremembering.
other agents in the field, but also he gets to see the
Google knows.
admin and
I-
maintenance staff as they go about their business
really
and hang out in the
hope
cafeteria.
this supports
and
HDR,
sort of the
because this
everyday
game would be
happenings of,
amazing.
Auto-
And I hope it's
what
done
life-
well.
What appears to be normal
Huh?
in the Psychonauts world.
No
There are a lot of
HDR on
little
anything
hidden
except for
pathways
Xbox
and
Series
treasures around
consoles
the base
through
that
way
you can
of
find,
auto
side
HDR,
quests
oddly
and
enough,
scavenger
even though it
hunts
is
and things that you
it's
might
a
have
next gen
missed in the first
title,
game.
but it's using
There's
auto
a lot of
HDR.
characters to meet, a lot of fun things
that's
to discover,
disappointing.
a lot of secrets.
I mean, it's
about the
better than
Psychonauts
nothing, but-
themselves and the lore of
it's
the founding
Unreal
of the
Engine
Psychonauts,
4.
including the Psychic
Oh, is it?
Six.
That's even
who
more.
were
It's
seen
even
like
more
stumps
disappointing then
around the
because
campfire in the first game, but now we get to go much
Unreal Engine
deeper
4's
into
got a
the
really
story
good
of how
HDR pipeline. They
became
probably-
the
see,
founding
they
of the
don't know
Psychonauts.
HDR.
It's probably just a
How they were
limitation
brought
of
together
like
and recruited by
stemming
Ford
from
Proler
their
and turned into
backers
this
groups.
amazing
Like
international
when you're
espionage force.
relying on crowdfunding,
One of the things
you're
that was so important about the
likely
first game was
it's likely
exploring
not
the
a priority
natural
to get everyone
environment around the
HDR
summer camp,
TVs.
all the little hidden paths and
And
caves
remember
where
too,
Raz's
like
adventures took
343
place. And so in the
told
second game,
people
we've
for years
expanded on
when
that.
they
There's
were
an even
asking
bigger
why
natural
doesn't Halo
environment,
5
multiple natural
get an
environments
update
around
to
the
support
headquarters that you can
HDR. It's not
explore. There's a
it's not a
quarry
flip of a switch.
outside the Mother
It
Lobe, which
No,
is
no.
where they dug out
artists to go
massive
back
deposits
through
of
and
titanium,
you know,
this
create those metadata
psychoreactive mineral
profiles.
that
It has to be
amplifies
authored for
and
it. I mean,
changes
it's not
psychic
something
powers.
you can't.
There's lots of
You can
secrets
just
around the
No, I get
quarry,
it. I
lots of
completely get
abandoned
it.
mines and caves and
Just
things
seeing
to
the-
explore.
A little loud,
And
according
next
to
door
Blast
to
Face.
the
I'm letting
quarry
you know that from the
is an
future.
abandoned roadside attraction called the Questionable Area, a sort of
Never.
power
Thanks,
vortex
Justin.
of strange happenings, which is also
I'm reading
caused by the
everything he's saying,
titanium
and,
deposits in
yeah,
the area.
really
Water
sucked for
flows
this one.
uphill.
Yeah.
Animals behave
God,
strangely.
look at that. I mean,
there's
just
caves dedicated to
Tim
the mystery of
Schafer's
the
mind
Sasquatch,
is one of
which is a
those,
giant
you know,
one-eyed
he's
being that
like the
might have
American
existed and might
Shigeru
not have.
Miyamoto.
Here
you
in the
know,
questionable area,
you don't
Raz's
ever want to
family
lose
is
him
camped out. His
because he's
entire
always got
family,
something new and
as if
creative
to
and crazy
embarrass
that
him
nobody
in
else
front
is
of his
doing.
new Psychonauts friends.
No, he
His
doesn't have to
family
worry
showed
about
up
budget.
and they want him back
Yeah,
in the circus.
exactly.
So I don't
Turns out
understand
some
why
of his family
people
members,
keep on
including
pushing
their
for
father,
Double
have a
Fine to
little bit
make
of psychic
Banjo.
power themselves.
He doesn't seem
And
like
they'll
he
be
wants to make
exploring
it.
that in Psychonauts
He
2,
says
and you'll
explicitly
get
he
to
doesn't
find
want
out
to, and I think people
who
should
put
just
this
drop
curse
it.
He literally
on Raz's family to
started
die in
joking,
water.
saying, "I'll
The
make
Quadrats
whatever
have
you
been
want."
cursed by a
And then
mysterious
but he's
character
like,
to
"Oh, you can
all
make whatever
die
you
in
want." He's like,
water,
"Oh, thank
and
God."
this manifests itself
Just making
in
it clear, yeah,
the,
we're gonna
form of the
stay
hand
Double
of
Fine. We're not
Pinocchio,
gonna become a
which is this
Microsoft
hand that comes
IP
out of water,
revival
which is
house.
really just Raz's
Right.
psychic construct.
Right.
Raz is so afraid of water,
And I think
because
that's
of
the
his
best
family,
approach.
that every
Let
time he comes
developers
near
make what they
water,
want to make.
this creepy
People
hand
want
comes out and tries
act
to
as
grab
if
him and pull him under, which is all
the
happening
online
inside of
discourse is
Raz's
going to
head.
dictate
In
the
Psychonauts 2,
sales
you'll
or
get to find
success
out
of
who
a
put this
Banjo
curse
remake.
on
But I
Raz's
mean,
family. where it came from. and what
Reality
you
has
can do
shown
about
that,
it.
you know,
The
plenty of
story
other
you
games have been
uncover about
revived
the
and
curse
have
put
not
on
done
his
well.
family
So
links
I think
back into
Banjo
the
would.
story of the Foundation.
I think people are just so hungry for Banjo, they don't care who makes
Nuts
it.
and bolts revival, sure, but if it's the first two games, it's not
What?
gonna-
No, what?
There's a lot
No.
of mystery to discover
Why would
for
you
the player
revive
and
the
Raz
least
and
liked?
his family
The
and
only
his friends
enjoyable one?
as they
Oh Jesus Christ!
explore
You're I swear
literally
you live on
family
another
the
planet
Psychonauts.
sometimes.
Well,
that's literally going to be my point.
Maligula.
People,
Maligula
you know, they
is
did
one of the first
indeed
villains
make a
Psychonauts
new
ever
Banjo,
fought. She's
and
a
yes, it
powerful
was
psychic,
different.
and she's a mass
But
murderer,
I think it
and
ended
she's
up being
been
more
believed to be
successful
dead for many
than
years,
people
but there's
realized
a lot
because
of
the
unknown
first
things
Banjo
going
sold
on
great.
behind
The
scenes
second
and a
one
lot of
didn't.
mysteries
Yeah, the second
and
one
a
didn't
lot
sell
of,
it nearly as well.
plots for the player to uncover.
I wonder if
Psychonauts
people
2.
were like
So that's it. Thanks for taking
moving
this deeper
on
look
from
into Psychonauts
N64 at
2,
that
which
time.
means the game is coming out August 25th.
I mean, Perfect Dark did really well.
And you can pre-order now.
Yeah.
So I'll
That
stop
game
talking
ran like
so you
poop.
can go and do that. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, even with the expansion pack, which I remember going out to get.
Oh,
I
this
think-
game. I'm kidding. I don't know what it's name.
God damn you.
Oh my god, they're showing Deathloop. See, I actually don't remember what this game is called.
But you shut up, Jesse.
You should be starting to see it by now.
You do now.
Oh, this is the one that they showed at Volver
Oh, is this
Digital.
Atomic Heart?
Is this a disco?
No, this was it was a different show.
This I do not like.
It was yet another, 4-player horde shooter.
This is not good. Not good.
What if we open the doors and run? Just run. No stopping, no shooting, just straight to the bridge.
We're all on the same page, right? So far as this. The Anacrusis.
Well, I mean, that's the way the interrupts work. It doesn't send the data at the same time
Really?
everywhere.
Yeah,
We call them tanks.
that's the same thing.
They're-
that
I call them
happened.
brutes.
Person first.
From Latin
There
Brutus.
could be more
We'd
hops
sound
for
smart
us
calling
than
them
you.
brutes.
There could be
You
just.
don't want to get in here and help name these?
Nah, I'm good.
They felt sad for Florida man.
This one was in there, coming this year on Game Pass. Or
The
That's
Anacrusis
right.
but
is looking like a
after
game
show.
I didn't realize I needed in my life.
It's nice to give him some
and
time.
here from Stray Bombay to tell us more about the Anacrusis is Chet Felisek.
I like that they're giving
Thank you for
smaller
being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
developers
Now-
some time.
Talk to me
Yeah.
about this game, the Anacrusis.
Yeah, this second
What's
show
the
is
concept?
Really
How did
they
you
were
come
like,
up
man,
with this?
So
we're
I
really
grew up
pushed
with
to the 90
late
minutes,
60s, early
which
70s
isn't full 90
sci-fi.
now
I
because
love
we
that
cut
stuff,
out
right?
multiple
Logan's
things.
Run,
Yes.
But
Battlestar Galactica,
we can have a nice
1999.
2
That wasn't
hours of
cheesy to
just
me or
talking to
campy. That
people
was just the way
about
sci-fi
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to set a
I
game in
do
that
this
world.
every year. I
Right, we have
really
those
like it.
cool colors, cool shapes.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I
fantastical
think,
sci-fi weapons and creatures.
It kind of
And then
makes.
it
I
also
mean, this
lends
reminds me of
itself
Inside
to- we wanted
Xbox or
something that was
what
positive
the
about
post
players,
E3 shows,
characters,
at least of
you're
Inside
working
Xbox,
together,
were.
Yeah.
sure, there's
They're
aliens,
just kind of
That's
getting
a
away
fighting
from that
cringy
creatures,
brand.
you're
joke,
trying to
though.
save Earth. But you're doing it in a positive,
Aw,
uplifting
I love
way.
most of
I
that
just,
crap,
after the
most of that
pandemic, I don't
crew.
think I could go back to a dreary post.
Oh, I like the people, I just
apocalyptic
didn't
world.
like
I need
the
something
canon
uplifting, and so we wanted to
that
deliver that.
never,
That's
ever
awesome.
leaves.
Now,
Yeah,
talk
no.
to me about the
Yeah.
gameplay. You've said that there's an infinite replayability to this. So how does that factor in?
Yeah, so there's 4-player co-op. You're playing with your friends, and what we want to do is make sure that it's different every time you're playing it. And so we have a lot of different systems that do that, but underneath it all is the idea of the AI driver. The AI driver is driving everything that's happening in the game with items, where they're placed, what's happening with the
In about 10
creatures,
seconds,
what's
you guys are gonna
happening
see something
with your health
completely
kits,
normal.
your perks. All of those systems are driven off of that. And so what that means is, as you're playing, not only do you have those, hey, this last time we played
I
this,
do
there was
wonder if
nothing
there's
here, and
enemy
this time
variety or if
we're
they
being
all just
overwhelmed.
look like
And
weird.
then you also
Yeah,
have those peaks
I was
Yeah,
just
that's
thinking
what I
that.
was
Like
gonna say.
the main enemy is kind
the
of.
uptime in it, or a lot of combat happening.
I mean,
in
it's
it, and
not
also
bad,
monitoring
but,
other people
as your
playing.
main-
So if your first time playing and your team isn't doing
Just
very
needs
well,
some variety.
we'll
Get
put
some
health
Yeah, I
kits right
think
on the main
it
path.
needs a little
that you
color.
find. And then if you don't find them,
Yeah, I think that's one of the things
we'll
that
spawn a couple
tools
more
this
later.
channel
If you're
will
really good,
definitely
if you're really
help
killing
with
it,
a lot more,
but we
whether you're
might
talking
not
about
put anything
UV or
on the main path.
Unity or
And so if you wanna go find
some of the
your
other
perks or you wanna
middleware
go find
or
new weapons, you gotta go
proprietary
off that
engines
main
is that
path and go search for that. And it makes the
developing
game just a little bit harder, but in a way
additional
more
models
interesting way
that
than
don't
just
eat up
saying,
a ton of
hey,
resources
let's
should be a
double
lot
the
better
health
this go
of all the
around.
enemies. And then we do
Yeah, like
something
the
that we actually
UE5
look from session to session
human
as
one
well.
where it's
So if you
like
play with the
you
same
don't
three
have to
friends
completely
Meta-human.
build
you
everything.
guys
It's
been
there
killing
and
10
you
weeks
can
in a row.
just
Well, let's mix it up for you. Let's just throw
shape
something
it.
crazy at you that you've never seen before.
I'm
in a million aliens.
guessing
You
that
can do that because you normally
making
do
these enemies
difficulty. You've gotta
really
be here
dark is an
because you don't know what
intentional
happened
choice,
before or
considering how
after, but here,
colorful the environment
these really
is.
big
They want to
peaks
have
of
that
all of a sudden bring
contrast.
you to nothing.
And then they
Yeah.
have like
Then I
the
gotta go
colored
crazy.
lines or
I
lighting
love that
at their
it's
head
scaling
areas to try
your,
to
basically your
kind of help
skill
you read them.
level, right?
But
So that, yeah, that's fantastic. Now, kind of deeper dive.
that'll be
you know,
interesting.
into the perk
I imagine
system
this
that
is
you're
probably
gonna have in the
going to
game.
be one of those
So for
games
the
that
perks, we looked at a lot of games where you start
translates
with,
well
like say a
when you're playing
class-based
locally
thing. And then,
versus
you know, if you're playing with your
compressed
same
stream.
friends, well, I'm going to be
Yeah,
support,
I am
you're gonna
interested
be
in like
carry,
a
someone else is gonna
horde
be help.
shooter
We
that
kinda get
has
into a rut of what
roguelike
systems
elements
we're
where
playing
things
and
are
how we're
different every
playing.
time.
So we want to be able to mix that up so that every time you're playing, you're also kind of choosing your role based on the perks
It's funny,
you're
we
getting.
put
So
up, for
perks
people
come in
who
this
think that
thing called the meta
Redfall
compiler.
is
You
a
have to go
horde
find the meta
shooter,
compilers
we
in
put
the
up
world, and
an
once you
article
find
and a
one,
video
they'll have from one to
that
perks to
explains,
choose from.
no,
Then over
it is an
time, you're
arcane
essentially
game,
building
but
a
it's
deck
open
for your-
world
for
co-op.
your character. And so
But
you
it's
might have
arcane,
it where
it's
it's
not
on the
Left 4
trailer,
Dead.
there's a pulse,
Yeah, Harvey Smith
which
put
is
out
kind
a
of like a melee
Harvey
shove.
Smith put out a
Well, you can
thing
invest
like
into
right
that, and you can have
after
one that you can
E3
now
because he
recharge
knew
your pulse
those were
faster,
kind of the
and now it
concerns that
protects
would
their,
probably be
other players around you.
regurgitated over and
then
over,
it
and he was
gets
like,
more
"Nope, this is
powerful,
a
and you can actually do
true
damage
arcane
with it. So
game.
all of a
Just
sudden,
we
you went
have
from being a
co-op
support
now."
character
I'm wondering
playing
if
in
that
the
trailer
back
didn't
to
even
leading
come
the
from
charge
Arcane.
going forward
Like, it
and
just
knocking
seems
down aliens and
so...
everyone else blasting
Seems like
them.
it did
Or
such a
you
bad
get a bunch of
job
perks that are
communicating what the
about,
game really is,
investing in
other
one
than it
weapon
has
and making it
vampires and
where
it's co-op.
You do headshots that actually
That
does
it's
damage
just
to other
like-
aliens around. So now you're
I'm
the
still
sniper
shocked
a
they
lot of
closed
times-
on that.
and so it's really mixing up that kind of
Yeah, I
experience
think
that you're
that- I
having,
don't
and
know.
you'll earn these perks as you play. So the more
It
you have, the
generated a
more
lot of
perks you have.
excitement from my friends
But
who
since we
aren't
want the game to
huge
always be great to play with
arcane
your
or
friends,
gamers.
if
Arcane
you've-
fans are
if you've been
gamers, so I
playing,
think
I'll
it
say you
did
play with me.
its
I've been playing for
job
100
and
hours.
that it
You're brand new.
kind of
Well, we share the perks.
alluded to
So
something
you get all
more,
the
but
perks that I have available to me as well.
for
So
me,
that way you could have that experience of all
you know,
that craziness in your
most
game
of
as
those
well. 'Cause it's all
trailers
about
are
having
made
fun
by
with your
external
friends.
partners.
The shared experience
But I
with your
kind of
friends.
wish they
Now,
had ended
we
with
kinda already
something
talked
a
about
little
the
bit different.
inspirations, like
I think that was the only.
Something with
I
more
looked at that and it was like
substance,
2001
really.
Space
And
Odyssey
it's just
was the
like...
first thing I thought of. But let's talk more about the
I don't know.
enemies in the game.
I'm kind of divided. Like, I like that they were
So
giving
the enemies,
Arcane a spotlight
is
like
you
that.
kinda
I
look at it
completely
of how
like
we
that
want
because
the
I think
players to
Arcane
behave,
hasn't been
as
given
well as
the... Yeah,
And so we bring
they
in
deserve
outside
it. They haven't been
playtesters
given the
every week.
recognition,
They play our
especially
game, we watch
sales,
them, and what we'd see is
that they deserve.
really
But
good teams would stick
not
together really
if
tightly.
they had
And even if we send
something
something
real
like the player
time or
that spreads them
gameplay,
apart, they
by all
quickly
means,
form back
and with
together.
it, but with a
So we created
CGI
something
trailer,
called the
and then on
spawner.
top of that, a
And this is
CGI
just a good
trailer
example
that
of kinda
just
how we
did a
approach
terrible
the
job,
design. The spawner you hear off
like
the distance,
showing or
and you'll
previewing
hear
what
it,
the game is
and you know
about.
what it's doing. It's spawning things. It spawns these little turrets
No.
that come at you. They're not the worst thing, but they're going to be
I loved it.
unrelenting until you kill the spawner. And so you'll be sticking with your
What?
team, and you'll be like, "Oh, wait a minute! If
I think
the
he said
spawner
I
comes
liked it.
now, and this turret's
Yeah,
come,
I
and we've got a guy
remember
down,
something
we've got to go over there."
I was
I'm
yawning.
not
I was
sticking
saying
with my
I
team. I'm going to go
loved
hunt
it.
that thing down. I'm going to go kill it. So you go run off.
It was a nice
Yeah.
trailer,
Feeling
but it
good
wasn't
about
a good
and all
trailer
of a
for the
sudden realize,
game.
Wait, where are my teammates? I'm all alone. There's other specials here. Oh, I'm in trouble. And it's trying to create those kind of moments where it's mixing it up, where you always
think
want
the
to have
fact
it
that it
where it
got
kind of
people
almost takes
talking
turns of one player
tells me it did its
the
job.
last
I
one
mean, we already.
surviving,
I mean,
they're the last one up, and
anybody,
then everybody else
any
up and
any
get
of us,
going. And
for
so
example,
really looking
who
at having
know
those enemies
Arcane's
give
pedigree,
you
like
those
if you're
moments of how
worried,
it affects the
I don't know
players.
what to tell you. I mean, they've
Bonus
been
question
they've
for
been
you.
pretty much.
I don't.
Does the
Bad
I
for
mean,
1,000 at this point. So
You are right
So
that it got people
Anacrusis
talking.
is a
I
musical
was
term.
never
It means
worried. I was more so
the notes before the
confused,
song,
right?
the
Like,
the little kind of intro.
because the
And
trailer
for
sold it
this, we
as
have
like
a
a
character
Left 4
Boris
Dead
that
in
you
an
never
open
meet.
world type game.
And then
where
other players just talk about it because
that's not
fun to have this
Arcane's
character that you never really are
signature.
sure who they are
So
because
it-
it's
it-
everyone else describing it.
I was still
And
open-minded.
she,
I was still excited, but it
named
was
the
just more
barge that you're
confused,
on
if
that you're launching
anything.
these missions, the Anacrusis. And her thought there was, this is
And it
not
did
the
make
main
me
event. This is not us
want to learn
against
more.
the
So I
aliens
mean, like
with
you said, it
fighter
did do
pilots
its job
and
in that
everything else. It's
sense.
just regular
It's just
people.
it's
This
one
is
of those
the
things where first impressions
pre-battle
are
to the
everything,
battle.
and you
This is
can
finding out about
you
these
can build
aliens and what just
intrigue
happened.
and
Oh, that sounds so cool. Again, the Anacrusis, everything
curiosity
that you talked
and
about today, it
excitement
sounds
without,
amazing.
like,
I can't wait to get my
just
hands
without
on
doing
it.
a
But Chet,
crap
thank
job
you so
to,
much for
like-
being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We've got so
Like
much more
previewing
coming
it or
in
what
today's
have you.
show, including Obsidian Entertainment with Grounded, iLlusions,
I
Red Roll with
I think
Shredder,
they,
and 343 Industries with a deeper dive on that
Let me wait 10
incredible
seconds.
multiplayer trailer for Halo Infinite. But first, the original Stalker was one of the most intense
talking about what
and
they're
eerie
going to
games
now?
of its era.
Yeah,
I've literally
yeah.
paused it and I'm
We
waiting.
return to
Yeah,
Chernobyl
no, we're
all
for
right,
Stalker 2.
Yeah.
Halo.
And Zach
So I wonder
from
if they're
GSC
actually-
Oh, Stalker, here we go.
has a closer look at the game.
Hey.
Let's check it out.
Hi, Zach. Wait.
Hi everyone, it's Zach from
Someone
GSC
named
Game
Zach,
World.
sorry.
It has been several days since the gameplay reveal of Stalker 2.
Yeah, you're still
Our
ahead
game
of
now
us.
has a subtitle,
Yep.
Heart of Chernobyl, and a release date of April 28, 2022. By the way, the pre-orders are opened for both PC and Xbox. You're obviously here willing to learn more, so here are several details about Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl you probably
This
didn't
is
know
one
yet.
of, like,
So
I was
let's
still
dive a
so
little
bummed
bit
that they
deeper
missed out
in
on
our
getting
trailer.
4A while they were still independent.
This
If they could
section
pick
of the
these
trailer
guys up,
is a
that
bandits
would be
gunfight on the chemical
incredible.
plant.
But I'm sure the geographical
You can see the actual in-game animations of picking up the
elements,
weapons
we'll
and
just say,
installing
I'm sure don't
modifications
play
on
well
the go.
to acquisitions.
Getting back into Metro.
The thing is, you can notice the teaser of a new faction. We are not showing the exact moment right now because we wonder if you can discover it yourself. You may actually recognize the exact location on the swamps.
Yeah,
if you played
GSC,
Stalker Clear Sky, you may remember this place. The time did the job, but the tower is definitely still there.
I guess they were all the ones that had no idea
Also,
how
in
to
this
write.
scene, you can see a brand new detector Skiff is using for the artifact hunt. Because of its form, it's called Gilka, which actually means a branch in the Ukrainian.
That's what I always remember from the first game, is you gotta avoid the weird pocket gravity things.
The artifact Skiff
And
is
this just
going to
looks
collect is
incredible.
called Jelly. In-game, it recovers your stamina. Moving to the Dancing Man scene. Before you ask it, yes,
Stamina,
there will
huh?
be a lot of characters with an interesting fate in the zone.
Yeah. Chernobyl, wasn't this game
His
like, really
hideout
punishing?
is located in
Yeah,
Chernobyl.
yeah.
I never played
Yeah.
it, I only watched people play
That's a
it.
town not so far
Yeah,
from
it has
Pripyat. You have
I
seen
tried
the
playing it, but
gameplay
I made the
teaser.
mistake of buying the Games for Windows Live version, and it never ran well on my my laptop at the time.
I'm trying to remember when this came out. 2009, 2010? The original, I mean. Early?
Yeah, there was an original,
Early.
like an expansion, wasn't there?
Yeah.
It was like
The
2009.
campfire, a small isle of
Yeah.
safety in the unwelcoming zone. A place
Different
where you can
lifestyle.
finally have a little rest before another foray.
That's why this
You
was
have seen
such
the
a huge
campfire
thing for
during the
me
first
last
trailer
year.
in the Rookie Village. Of course, it
you know,
wasn't
there had
the
been
only one.
rumblings about this game for years. The team had said they've been
zone
wanting
is
to go
full of
back,
dangers
and we
and
finally
mutants.
are getting
The monsters are the result of
getting
the
that
numerous
return
experiments.
in just a couple of months. It's crazy.
We're not ready to show you all of them, so let's stick to the old good bloodsucker for now.
Считаешь, я не думал, как обойтись без его смерти? Она не
The character
могла
design
быть
is
свободна,
incredible.
пока он жил.
Yeah, the facial animation, the
Honestly,
hair.
The hair?
Посмотри
Yeah,
на
It's
нее.
like the best looking video game here I've ever seen.
Я не отдам ее никому.
I was
You
pointing
watch
that out
this
to
in
my wife.
4K and it's like, that just looks
Новую
real.
жизнь.
That's like the
Жизнь,
Horizon
которую я готов
friggin'
вернуть, если
photogrammetry.
потребуется. Я буду защищать ее. Всегда.
In this rooftop scene, we are truly proud with the quality of the animations.
Oh, nice.
We made a small
Yeah, it's
behind-the-scenes video from our motion capture studio. The face photogrammetry process makes the final result as close to the reality as possible.
God, this reminds me of the systems they used in L.A. Noire way back in 2010, 2011,
That was
whenever
like
it was.
enormous compared to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Gauss gun you're seeing in this section is one of the most powerful weapons from the arsenal.
Охренеть.
Похоже, пора.
И куда ты теперь?
В Припять.
Moving to the final thing for today, the man at the end of the trailer is Sergei Grigorovich, the creator of the Stalker series.
Удачной охоты.
You have 50,000 watching on YouTube.
Thanks for joining us today. We can't wait for the moment when the time comes to enter the
Wait.
zone on April 28,
That guy was modeled after the-
2022.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
As you just saw, Stalker
Yeah,
2
Jonathan,
is
4A
shaping
is
up to be
broken up
something
off of
special, and I can't wait to
some of
play
the
it next
original
year
team.
when it comes to Xbox, PC, and
That's
Game
Probably why the
Pass
two
on
games
day
look so
one.
similar.
On Sunday, we
Right.
saw the trailer for A Plague Tale Requiem, the sequel to the award-winning A Plague Tale Innocence. And for those of you who are fans of the original, we've got some good news for you too.
Amicia, I want to see Mommy.
Where is he?
Is this gonna be on Game Pass again? Is this coming back to Game Pass? I mean,
Yeah, the first one was still 30, wasn't it? 30 frames? I think it's 30 now, yeah. We gotta
first one was what?
still only 30 frames per second.
Yeah.
It's not it's 30.
It had nice motion blur and stuff to cover that up. Oh wait,
Yeah, I was just saying.
it just said enhanced to 60.
Yay! Yeah, I know, it was...
You have
Yeah,
come
it's,
to challenge me.
Man, I think I wonder if I own this.
I've got it on disc.
Is it on Game Pass?
Or July 6th. Okay, so 4K.
If history was in your hands,
4K 60.
what would
Yeah.
you build?
I'll finally beat it.
Stream is a little loud still.
Just says stream. Yeah.
The stream is loud even.
Psychonauts on Doncabes.
Okay, I turned it down again. When Justin said it was loud earlier, I turned it down then too. Let me know. I'm going bit by bit because when I did it before, it seemed too low. I think someone said so.
And here to tell us more about Age of Empires 4 are Adam Ice-Green and Emma Bridle from World's Edge. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us on, Parris.
Oh, absolutely. my legacy Age player. I'm excited for this. Now, you had some news at the briefing.
Adam
Can you kind of talk about that a little more?
First guest, if I remember.
Friend of the site.
The Abbasid Dynasty and the
It's still on Game Pass?
Yes. And
Thanks,
they
Jesse.
bring a lot
Oh,
to the
no
table.
shit.
Totally different ways to play. But I'm really excited to show them those. And then also, people got to see their first taste of naval gameplay, which we haven't shown off at all, except for a little teaser at the end of fan preview.
Paying off that tease,
I
and
suck
we
at
also revealed
RTSs
one
and
more
strategy
campaign,
games, but I love to play them.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. Like, that's why I'm not. This is like the one game I'm least interested in. Like, it looks good. I'll probably load it up on my PC to try it out, but I know I won't get far.
They did say the cloud streaming thing at the bottom of the page wasn't a mistake. It's not coming to cloud stream.
Yeah, I guess I'll start. The Abbasid,
They're still working on getting PC-only games into it, but right now it's just the Series X server plays with
has a
just
really unique
Xbox.
mechanic
Or
that we're
will
bringing
be
to
Series
them
X
in Age of
server
Empires
plays.
4. It's actually unique.
So what, they're going to have
the
cloud games running on
They
PC hardware?
construct this bastion
They're
of
going to
knowledge
have
called
the
the House of Wisdom,
PC-only
and they
games
can
they
keep
put out.
upgrading
They
with
want to
different
figure out
wings,
how to
and
get
that gives
them
them
on
a
the cloud,
host
they
of
said.
incredible technologies that
I mean, the hardware obviously
army,
can
their
run
economy,
them.
their
It's just,
resources.
their environment is all
But beyond
Xbox.
even
It's
that,
not
they have
Yeah,
an incredible amount
but
of
that
fun
I mean
units,
that means that
especially
either they
camels.
need to port it to
Unique
Xbox
to
hardware
The Sims
or
again,
have like a
the launch
dynamic
since for Age of Empires
An
4 is camel units, and
emulator or
these
something
camels
running the
have
PC
amazing
on the
abilities
blades.
to buff the other units
Or-
in their armies, and so you have
Yeah,
these
or just have it
wonderful
PC
diverse mixes
hardware.
where
Like if
you
you're
always
playing a
wanna be throwing
PC game, it
different
loads
units
from
together,
PC
but always
hardware
including
versus
camels for the different kinds of buffs and
Kinda
stuff
like,
that you
extra
can
hardware
give,
load into every
to your
single
soldiers.
GeForce
That,
Now.
that's a lot of extra
And the
complexity.
You've already
Friends
got
are really,
powerful
really
enough
strong with
hardware.
trade.
It's
They've
just
got some
making
great
it so that
options that are
hardware
going to make your late
can
game
run
really,
the
really
PC.
interesting. They have
Yeah.
a landmark called the House of
running
Commerce.
via wrapper,
A few
probably.
units you're going to really want to focus on knights and lancers.
Or
those are
you just
your
say screw it and
powerhouses.
say yes, we'll
But
put
the
out a
French
keyboard and
actually
mouse
made an
only game on
appearance in the
console.
trailer as part of
People
100
lose
Years
their
That would be the
campaign.
ideal way,
And,
right?
as you can see,
I
Joan
mean-
there, I'm actually wearing her around my neck.
I mean,
She's a feminist
the
icon from
reality
history.
is
This young
you
woman
would
who
lose
led
some
with her
functionality, but you
convictions
could
and
still
led
put this
a
game
battle,
on
and she was a
controller
teenager.
and then make
so
it more
she's beloved.
complex.
She's in Age 2 in
But
a
direct people say,
campaign,
hey,
so
if you
we
want the
know
best
each fan's gonna love
experience,
seeing her
use
again.
keyboard and mouse.
And the
I
100
mean,
Years War
Sims is the
with
same
the
way.
multiple missions,
Sims
like
is
the Battle of the
atrocious
30,
on
are really gonna
controller.
bring that period
The
of
fact that
history
you
to
can
life, and
use
all
your
the live
keyboard and
action
mouse
footage
on
that
the
you saw in
Xbox
trailer
version
on Sunday,
is a
that's all from within the
godsend.
game. We
So,
have these multiple documentaries that will
you know,
play
just
between
there
the
are
missions
certain
to
realities that people have to
storytell and really
face.
bring
Some
it to
games,
life
if
as
you want those
journey through
games
the 100
on your
Years.
platform,
Taking a completely
you gotta
different
use
approach to
the
how we're
appropriate,
telling a story in
user
matter of fact, I
input.
don't think I've seen any game that
No.
does what we're doing in terms of
wow.
how we're showing the story and how we're getting people involved with history. So
It
super
really,
exciting.
really brings it to life, and I've learned things about English history from these documentaries I didn't learn in school, so they're educating as well as moving the game forward.
Now, community feedback.
That's what I
is
love about
always
the Age
important
series is
in-
that
in
it's
any game, but
just as
especially in
much
something
about
like
like the
Age.
history
Now, how have you taken
of,
some of that
you
feedback
know,
into development for Age 4?
of the
So
world
we formed the
as it
Community
is to the
Council back
gameplay
in
itself.
2017.
You know,
We
much
wanted
more
our
than
community and our players
personalized
to have a seat
blast
at the
to
table for
commemorate the
development.
show.
We're making the
Yeah,
game
yeah. I
for
just
them.
I was just
So they've
reading
been
that.
hands-on with the game for a really long time and giving us their honest feedback.
Oh,
and
was
we then
that
take
the
that
was
to
that the
game
small
team,
print that
and
I
they look
can't
at
read
making
without my
changes
glasses?
based on
Yeah,
what they've
yeah.
told us. So
Yeah,
they've
buy a
influenced
personalized
things from
Xbox
the look of
Bethesda
the UI
showcase
icons, the
Hopefully it's not too
influences
expensive.
built into Age 4.
I would love to
They've
order
really,
that.
really helped us with
Yeah,
their
me
viewpoints
too.
to make the game better. And one thing they really pushed for actually was naval.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm waiting for my
actually,
Pride
if you look at a
Chief
lot of
shirt
the
to
data,
come in.
we see data on all
I
the
actually
Age
just
of Empires
got
games that people play. And
my
naval is one of those
Xbox Era
things
shirts
that
a
in
couple
Age
days
2,
ago.
A lot of people don't
Finally.
use it,
Oh, nice.
which is crazy, right? But if it wasn't there, people would
Shut
miss
up,
it so
Jesse.
much. And sometimes we have to ask those hard questions when we're making games, right? We say like, do we need to do this? And it was something that we felt weird about, and we went to the council with it, and we're like, hey,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, Yeah, I'm just jealous because mine. I think mine said it's out for delivery today.
Do we need it? And they're like, yeah, no, we see your point, but you have to have this. Yeah. And it was great. It was a great reaffirmation. And we throw a lot of things like that at our council.
This game just looks gorgeous, though. Like, I love the art style. It's not trying to be uber realistic.
And now we're heading towards
and
launch,
the use of
we're
color
branching out beyond
makes
our
it
council.
so
People are
much
gonna get
easier
hands-on for the first time. So we had
to
a
actually
fan
be able
preview event back in
to
April,
distinguish
and we looked at the feedback
units
from
and
that,
everything
and
like
have made
that.
changes since then. So, you know, you let us know that you didn't feel
Oh,
like the weapon
units.
scaling was quite right. So we went ahead and
Yeah.
Sweet, or it
Oh
didn't
my God.
happen, Mike.
Now, you actually
My
Yeah,
wife
word
got
one
so-
that I wanted to jump into.
My
because
wife got so
Age has been
frustrated
around for a
watching me
while.
play
There's
Halo
been
Wars
previous
because
games,
because
but
I
you
would
continue
constantly
to make content for
Oh,
those.
I love Halo
all
Wars.
units.
Halo Wars is the one.
God, they have to say that.
Some
I'm
of the
like,
legacy
I'm
Age
doing
games.
Well, we have a new expansion coming in August for Age 2 Definitive Edition called Dawn of the Dukes. And in that expansion, we're going to be adding 2 more civilizations,
Dawn of the
the
Dukes.
Bohemians and the Poles, and 3
And
new
Ursula
campaigns
said,
for the
I'm actually in line
Lithuanians,
with
the
everyone else,
Bohemians,
and you
the
two are in
Poles.
the
And those are
past, so I'm not going
great
to bother.
stories about really
I'm
cool,
the one that's
like,
on time. You're late.
It's weird because when I look over to the OBS, it's ahead of probably even you, Jesse.
Their hands on it. And the great thing is that if you pre-order Age of
It's
Empires
way
4,
ahead of me.
you get that for free. That's part of the deal for
Talking about
pre-ordering
H3.
H4 on,
How long does
on
it
the
take
different
before you get to
platforms.
that?
And for H3, of course, because we don't want to leave them out either. H3
No.
Definitive Edition, we're
I
hard
just
at
got
work
to
on an
H3.
African PDLC with new civilizations and campaigns. And I can't
The amount
wait
of support
to
that
show
World's
more.
at,
We're
I
not
mean,
ready to
actually the
talk
amount of
about that one
support
just
that
yet.
all
If
of
you
the
don't wanna miss
Xbox
out,
games have gotten
go to
over the years is
ageofempires.com,
insane.
become
Like
an
there was
insider,
yesterday
and
they
you
were
get a little
they were
sneak
tweeting
peeks
about
at things we've got
Gears
coming
3
and
and
chance to get
Judgment
hands-on with
getting
content early.
Updates?
updates.
Now,
Yeah,
balance
I was
patch.
like,
Yeah.
what?
Age
This
4.
is like I don't know.
What's
That's
some
why
of the
when
things people can expect as
when
we
people
lead
complain
up to
about
launch?
games as service, at least from
Well, we've got
Xbox,
a
I
bit
don't
of an
care
exclusive for you
because
today.
it just
Like complaining that, oh, Halo's being
we're
shut
gonna
down
name
after,
our
what,
remaining launch
17
sibs and
years?
our remaining launch
Yeah,
campaigns. We're not
like,
going to show
give
them
me a
just
break.
yet.
13.
That'll come closer to launch.
no matter
but
what
our
people think,
2
servers
remaining
do cost money, and
civilizations
legacy
are the Holy Roman
servers
Empire
especially
and the Rus.
are
And
a
the
pain
names
in
of
the
our 2
ass to
remaining
maintain.
campaigns are the Rise of
I imagine
Moscow
some of the
and Mongol
complaints,
Empire.
or a lot of complaints actually about the
Fantastic.
games as a
Please.
service.
No,
I don't
I was
know
just
if
gonna
it's
say,
a,
I'm
I
so
mean,
excited.
yeah, there's some of
You
it
know,
about
you
the
gotta shake
longevity
their
of
hands
it,
like
but
this. You're gonna have
for
to wait a
me,
little more to
it was
get
how
information
heavy
and
they
see
were
more
into
detail
it.
on
It
those
was lack of
civilizations and campaigns, but we're
No, I'm
also
talking
gonna
Variety.
about
you know,
I'm
a
talking
ton
about
of
when
stuff
Microsoft
planned. We
started
have a beta
moving
that's
away
gonna
from
be
that,
coming
when
up.
everybody was
So,
else
you
was
can go to
leaning in,
ageofempires.com,
and everybody was
sign up
leveraging
for
that
being an
argument
insider
as
to
a
get in
straw
our
man
beta
for
and get a
Game
chance to
Pass.
actually get hands-on with
That
the
is
games.
wrong.
And then, of course,
no.
again,
That has
we're
been proven to be
launching
false
October
Yeah.
year
28th.
after year.
Yep.
You're not gonna
And
get-
Games as a Service also is just
you
such
know,
a
on Steam,
broad
on Windows 10,
moniker
and
that I feel
on
is
Game Pass for
weaponized and
PC. So
misused,
it should be
and
great
people don't
any
really
way you wanna play it.
understand
We're just really excited.
how
That-
broad it
that
is
is great,
and
and I'm
why
sure
like
Age fans all around
State
the
of
world
Decay
are
is
really
a state
looking
of
forward
service
to
game.
that.
So is
again,
Ghost of
Adam,
Tsushima
Emma,
in
thank you so much for
the
being
broader
here.
Thanks for
sense,
having us on.
No,
but
thank
they're
you.
not Marvel.
Massive
They're
battles
Marvel
across
Avengers or
land, air,
Destiny.
and
So
sea
it's
have been a
it's
hallmark
one of
the
those
Battlefield
blanket
series from
terms
the
that gets
beginning.
thrown around
In
without
this next
much.
video, design director Daniel Berlin
Oh,
will tell us
Battlefield.
more about what DICE can do when
Nice.
it brings all-out warfare to the world's most powerful console.
This one's for you, Trev. Oh, should I
But
just go?
not-
Oh my god!
not-
Oh my god!
No.
Oh my god!
Yeah, please
No.
don't.
Okay.
And this is not for the one
The thing
person
that
on
will
our
really
on our
excite players
site
is the
who
introduction of all
hates
this
multiplayer games,
cutting-edge
apparently.
technology that we're just infusing into the sandbox. I think just having the comeback of the helicopter
It's
on
a
the
bad show and it's a
battlefield,
bad game.
it
It's
just
something that
introduces
I personally
a whole
don't
new
like.
layer
Objectively,
to the
it's
sandbox.
bad.
It just gives
Right,
players
right.
so much more tools that makes it more Battlefield than it's
I
been in
will
a very long time.
miss the
We
campaign.
really enable our players
so I
to
hope
be
that
really,
the-
really creative.
I hope the
with
gameplay
tools we
is-
give
is,
them. And that's what Battlefield is kind
interesting
of all
enough
about,
to keep me
being
coming back.
in
It
a
looks
massive,
fantastic
open
graphically, for sure.
war setting, and being able to say like, hey, there's a problem over there, go solve it. And the players actually choose how they want to solve that problem, and through that process create their own Battlefield moments. So in 2042, you will experience 3 really distinct experiences. The one we're talking about right now, we're talking about today, is the experience that we call the all-out warfare experience. Now, this is the place you go in 2042 when you want to have those classic battlefield experiences, this massive war where it's, you know, air, land, and sea just coming together in these massive battles. But we've actually made a distinction between 2 separate experiences within the all-out warfare experience, and that's Conquest, which is very much a staple for our franchise. It's something that our fans know and love, and we're just taking the Conquest experience to the max this time around. Conquest is all about the freedom, the access to the sandbox, being able to choose where you fight, how you fight, where you want to go. But it's also
I know Battlefield
experience
5 wasn't that huge, but I have to
will
thank
allow
it for
players to
making my
kind of
life
choose
become
their own
pretty
pacing. And
solid
there's
at
moments in
first-person
Conquest
shooters.
where it's
Because we played
complete
Halo
chaos.
Master Chief back
When
in
a
like
lot of players
2014, and
just
it was like,
converge
you
on
know,
a single point, and
just
the chaos
learning
goes
how
up
to move
maximum.
with 2 sticks, and
But
then
there's also
start playing it
moments in
again, and you
Conquest
just
where,
running forward like a
you know, you
maniac.
just had that big
That's
battle.
awesome.
But it's
And
like she
now
went
you won
from
that
playing
battle,
like
and you're
Mike to
okay,
playing
you
that
bring
like
up your
me.
map, and
I
you have
mean,
a
not to be
conversation
mean.
with your friends, and you say like, okay, where do we want to go next? Oh, we need to go over there.
He's
to
not
that
even
state.
paying
Okay, how do
attention.
we get there? Oh, let's call in a vehicle. And a vehicle, you can call it in wherever you want.
Huh?
And then your friends, you hop into the transport vehicle, and you go across the map.
I'm sorry. I was listening to what he was talking about, the two different modes with like Conquest and what's going on?
So good.
And right next to that
So good,
lives,
man.
the other.
I'm sorry. I love Battlefield, so.
Oh, I did too.
And this one,
more guided experience.
this one looks
Gets a
so
lot of
good.
hate, but I
On a
loved
journey throughout the entire map. And in Breakthrough, there's an attacker and there's a defender team. And we kind of compress them into
Okay, so it's kind of like
head-on
rush
in a
mode?
specific space. So the time
what it
of
sounds
action
like,
is
yeah,
short,
Breakthrough,
and the level
yeah.
of chaos is really,
Breakthrough's
really
in fun.
high. There's helicopters and there's tanks and there's infantry. There's just everything happening, and it's just complete chaos in Breakthrough. So All Out Warfare kind of takes these two
That's the game
fan-favorite
that I
staple
hope
modes,
its
and
servers
we
stay a
make them
while is
distinctly
BF1 and BF5 because they're both so unique in the Battlefield universe that like this looks great, but I want to be able to jump back to those when I want a slower, more methodical, game.
Well, I mean, having different Battlefield games of different feels and eras. I mean, hell, you can still play Battlefield 1943 from the 360 era. You know?
Helicopters, fighter jets just moving in unison, and you kind of get this feeling that you're part of something bigger.
I don't know if you guys
like a
ever played
really, really
2049
massive
back in the
army,
day, but
and
it's so
that's the
funny
strength of
seeing
the
this
massive
because I
space
played a
system
lot of
building
that
and
on.
be
That
able
was
to
when I
really
first
make
kind of
this
built my first
play
PC
really well. We've
out on my own,
our way of
and
handling level design. Because
it's just funny looking at this and then looking at 2049. It's like, man, they had a huge technological jump in those 77 years between 2042 and 2049 from a canonical standpoint.
Now, with clustering means that you will have a massive battlefield in front of you. But within this massive battlefield, you will have particular clusters of objectives. So the map Hourglass is set in Doha, Qatar, and it is, I'm not going to go into any specifics about exactly how large it is, but it is definitely one of the larger maps that we will have in 2042. It's one of my favorite maps personally.
Imagine this in HDR.
Really, really
yeah,
cool,
no,
distinct
just like again, those
Down
beautiful
to the
neon
south,
colors.
you'll have a,
Yeah, I feel bad because this monitor's HDR is mediocre, so I can't do 120 frames per second when it's on because it's only HDMI 2.0.
Yeah,
that's why I got to convince the wife to get the 48-inch
LG. Yeah, Justin and I were talking about that last night when we were testing for Flew the Coop.
High-rises, skyscrapers. So there's a whole
the monitor game is just pathetic compared to
TVs.
TVs nowadays. It's like even if you're looking at whether you're looking at QLEDs or you're looking at OLEDs, it's.
So I don't understand why they even bother with that monitor.
Yeah, me neither. Not anymore, Mike. I've pretty much given up. I'm just gonna figure out how I can fit a 48-inch in my office.
There's a few more that are coming out that have good HDR, but even then, it's just catching up to where they were on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some now that have decent HDR on PC, but they're so expensive. Like,
exactly.
For that cost, you might as well get a nice TV.
Yeah.
If you can fit it.
Want to have a really high frame rate, and trying to get that with good HDR is just insanely difficult.
On the TV scene, it's not.
My eyes, beyond 120 hertz, my eyes cannot perceive the difference. But I know that's also.
I get to 165 on Windows, and I can, if I go 165 to 120 and I move like Windows around, you can tell the difference. But
yeah, my eyes just aren't that good anymore.
So what happens when this massive wall comes, of course, it engulfs you.
God, those clouds.
Yeah. The way that it envelopes the environment is just like.
Imagine how bad they're going to look at last gen on like a base console.
Oh, I can't wait.
They're not even going to be there.
This isn't.
It's going to be
this doesn't support smart play, does it, or smart delivery?
No, it does not.
I also like to mention
Crap.
the wall of sand is one.
So that means if I want to compare last gen to new gen, I would have to buy both.
Twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Thanks, EA.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, Hopefully,
maybe it'll be nice and give us influencer codes for both.
Hopefully, Microsoft, throws them the blank check and we get this on Game Pass.
Game Pass, that'd be nice.
I mean,
it's a massive,
that's incredible.
We know that one of the payment options for Game Pass is pay per playtime. So like, there's a chance. I don't know what the ratio is, like how much the rate is per playtime, but there's a chance that if people play this a lot, they could be making more than their $70 equivalent or $60 equivalent if they go with that payment option.
They just happen, and they happen differently every single time. Because
I guess it all just comes down to how much this game hooks players on Game Pass, if it ever appears there.
That's why I love Battlefield so much.
EA is also Madden went up today, and it's $70 in next gen, not smart delivery or free for last gen downgrade.
Yep.
Was last year's smart delivery?
No, it was just they would give it. It was dual entitlement from EA.
Okay.
Poised to deliver. During the showcase on Sunday, we announced an
exciting
collaboration between Rare.
I've been watching
Xbox,
or listening
and
to Parris for
Sea of Thieves,
almost 20 years with him and Danny Pena on Gamertag Radio, so it's just so cool.
Into the Sea of Thieves.
Just
yeah,
to see him on
absolutely
stage,
love that he's up there. And I liked how he said we announced a collaboration. It's like, Parris, are you trying to tell us something?
Let's take a look.
Maybe this is the Xbox acquisition everyone was really talking about.
Joined by Captain Jack Sparrow. To the Sea of Thieves. Quick as you like. Drop.
David Jones' ship there is enormous. They showed him some screenshots compared to your ship.
Yeah.
Now
See,
we have
I'm
awoken,
starting to
and
warm
we
up to this.
are
I was
hungry.
originally, I don't know, I love Sea of Thieves, but
This is exactly what it needs. Is just more story
I was
stuff.
starting to think you'd taken a
It's got the PvP stuff down.
Steady on
a lot of details.
Tall Tales are great.
Yeah, that's why I need more
This is
story.
the first place I've found where everyone appreciates
Like any type of
my
story they want to give.
uniqueness.
I like how they're giving like actual gameplay.
yeah.
Look.
So the question my wife and I had is, again, this is one of our games that we play all the time. Is this a limited time event?
I can't imagine it's too much work to make it limited.
No, this can't be.
I hope it's
I would be
not,
so
because
surprised if this is limited.
Because so much of their other stuff is limited time.
Um,
The Hungry of the Deep, yeah, I mean, look at all of their...
Like the original fights, yeah.
You have some of those events still available, you still have some of the challenges available. If you go through and look at their release schedule, a lot of the stuff that, like the Hungry of the Deep, the only thing that's left of it are the Megs.
It's all true.
But all the
okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the
Hey everyone,
tattoo
Joni,
for killing the
executive producer on
Hungry
Sea
one.
of Thieves here. So we've shown you the
Nice.
cinematic trailer, we've shown the gameplay trailer, but there's still more to come. So on Sunday at 11 AM Pacific, 2 PM Eastern, 7 PM UK, and 8 PM in
Deep
Europe,
dive.
we have the Sea of Thieves A
Wow.
Pirate's
Yeah.
Life showcase. So this is a real
Okay,
deep
cool.
dive just into all of
So
the
we-
details behind this collaboration.
That friggin'
with Disney.
staff,
How did
I've
we
been
bring
using that
Jack
staff
Sparrow
for
into our world?
months
How do we
in,
capture his humor
Insider
and
thing,
his
and
charm and all of the kind of characters that are
I
coming
hope
in
they
as a
make
part
it's
of
kind
this.
of
We're going to get a
absolute
first look at
useless
a
right
couple
now.
of
So
tales
I'm really
and actual
imagining
gameplay of those. We're going to get
Are
some
you
behind the
allowed to
scenes
talk about
from
that?
our development team, and also just to
So they
chat
showed
with
him use-
Disney just about how this collaboration came to be. So it's going to be amazing. I hope everybody
Like
tunes
in the
in.
trailer,
See
he's
you on
holding
Sunday.
the staff and shoots up with it.
I see John in the background like, oh god.
Yeah. Shut up. Shut up. I don't know how tight they are on that. Yeah.
Oh, once it's shown, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of stuff I'm sure that is in the Insider program that they haven't shown.
Yeah.
They finally put the staff. Holy shit.
I know I probably shouldn't, but I really want to get that Turtle Beach
I do
flight.
too.
Maybe we could convince John to get us some so we can use it for testing.
The flight stick?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Turtle Beach, yeah, like the yoke and the whole
And it's
panel.
got the multi-engine accelerator and everything.
How much is it?
this game is the only game that cripples my PC, and so I cannot wait to play it on
I mean, that's fine. That cripples almost every PC.
People are complaining. There's like a whole thread of people complaining. It's only 30. It's 30 games. And it's like, yeah, if you want to spend $3,000, you know, right now, if you want to spend $5,000, you can get it 60.
That's an exaggeration.
You want to run it at? They're saying
I have my PC is nowhere near $5,000, and I can run this at 60.
No, yeah, you want to buy a decent graphics card right now. Half of those alone are like.
But it's
$2,000.
it's not $5,000. Come on,
specs.
let's walk it back.
i9, 64 gigs of RAM, and a Vega 48 with 8 gigs HBM2. I cannot run this, and that was nearly $2,000. So there is a very accurate argument to be made about why this is such a big deal that it's even running 4K.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's no one should be expecting this to be 4K 60 on console.
If you could get MSRP, you could spend roughly $2,000 and run this game probably a little better than it would on console.
I spent above MSRP.
Even with the machine
right
that I
now,
have,
if you were able to get everything,
I
got
even
$2,500 pre-built, you could probably do this.
Well,
I have
no
to
one
drop
should
mine
buy
down to
pre-builds, first of
1080 and drop in a ton of the settings to be able to run it at above 30 on mine.
I got a 3080 and a 5950, and I don't know about 4K 60, but I can do 60.
Well, that's what I'm saying. People were saying, "Oh, this should be 4K 60." And I was like, "No,
When
it's not going to be 4K 60
Simulator
on
launched
console."
last year on PC, reviewers and gamers alike were blown away
I can
by
see
the
it
stunning
being
visuals and the depth of
1080p
No, they also
60.
wanted
Joining
like
us is
high or
York
ultra
Newman,
settings. I was
the
like,
head
Right.
of Microsoft Flight Simulator.
No, you cannot. I mean, again,
Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
Nearly $2,000 machine cannot. There is some hyperbole in those arguments, absolutely. But it is vastly more expensive to be able to, if you're starting from scratch.
There's nuance in because it was DX11. That's the big thing on the PC side. It's DX11, so that's why it's
12 once it hits
Yeah.
because I mean everything on X10 has to be 12.
Yeah, and they specifically had in I think a blog post or something or a tweet where they said that the work on console is contributing to their DX12 code for PC. And so, like, honestly, the PC utilization, like you on your 10900, whatever you said you have, 1090?
I have a Vega 48.
What sorcery are you
No,
doing
your
to get
CPU, I'm
this
sorry.
running
Oh,
on
yeah,
both
it's an
of those consoles? I have to
i9.
know.
I think
It's
it's
a
a combination of two
3.6
things, really.
gigahertz. I'm trying to remember the exact model.
But there's a chance that, say, it can run at 60 on the DX12 once that update is out.
Series X and S is like
The problem was with DX11,
GPU is awesome. Super
the
powerful CPU with multiple
multi-threading
cores,
capability.
RAM,
Yeah.
fast RAM, we can run in 4K. That's super important for planes because you sit there in the cockpit, you need to be able to read all the text. SSD,
So they're just
fast
talking about.
internet. So it's basically the
Really quick,
equivalent of a
as the
really
acquisition
powerful
nut,
high-end PC.
Yeah.
And on top of that,
Asobo,
on
I know
Flight Sim, we're
they've got a
using
multi-year
Microsoft
agreement
Stack
with
a lot.
them,
Like we have 2.5
but
petabyte
they
of
cannot let
data.
these guys go.
It's 1.6 million
They're
CDs.
for such
sitting on
a.
Azure.
And that's the thing, like, I'm wondering if they tried and they couldn't.
Yeah, well,
that's what
they got some
built
funding,
in runtime,
external funding,
1.5 billion houses
basically
and 2 trillion
to
trees.
maintain
So it's a
their
combination of those
independence.
two things: super powerful console.
But
super
that wouldn't be
good
the
use of
first.
Microsoft
I mean, I don't know. That wouldn't be the
You get
first
it to
time
work
Insomniac
on
did the same
console.
thing. Several other developers have done the same
with
thing,
Xbox
and then they've
Game
gotten
Pass
picked up. So
and with it coming to
I just
console,
hope that the
you're gonna
relationship is
expose
good
Flight
enough that
Simulator
eventually
to a
Asobo
lot
wants
of new
to.
gamers, right?
Yeah.
So
Because
what are some of the
they
things that you're
are.
going to do to make it
I
more
mean,
accessible
keep in
to a
mind,
wider
Plague Tale
audience?
is
So
their
we
own
had-
engine. They built
Yeah.
that from the
Exactly right.
ground
We had a
up.
little bit of that last
These
year
guys
when
are
we
some of the
launched
most
The
the
talented.
relationship is good enough where they're putting their
It's their hobby,
brand new
they
game
came
into
in, they
Game
know
Pass
everything
day
about
one.
aviation, they know
Right.
exactly what to do.
Yeah,
Like, we had
that's
a
true.
lot of
That's a
people
good
come
point.
into
To be
Xbox
fair,
Game
that's also
Pass on
Focus
PC
that published that.
and
So
basically tried for the
Oh,
first
yeah,
time.
They,
yeah.
they
Even on
have
the
a
PC
very
launch, we
good
did a bunch of
relationship.
work on onboarding,
Right,
with
yeah,
tutorials.
they
we gave
do.
some
I just hope
assistances,
that
but now for this
because I don't
Xbox
want
version,
Focus to pick them up.
we're
I
actually doing a
want.
ton more.
I'm hoping
No.
that
Video,
Xbox does because
and
that would
so
be
there's 5
such a
things we
boon
did. The
to
first
their.
thing, if you're becoming a pilot, the
I
first
mean,
thing you do
on
is
multiple
you do
levels.
a
Asobo has
discovery
a
flight.
great history
It's
with Xbox
basically,
and
you know,
just
you have
in
a flight
their
instructor next to you,
diversity
he does most
of
the work,
games,
he or she,
period.
And you get to steer the plane and
you know,
feel
obviously,
good about yourself,
Plague
right?
Tale
And so we
is
said, we need to
becoming
recreate that.
this
So we picked
amazing
10 places
third-person
on
narrative
Earth, like some of the
experience,
most
and
compelling
Flight
places,
Sim
like
is unparalleled.
Mount Everest,
So
or Rio de Janeiro, or New York, or the pyramids. And we basically put you in a plane, it's ready to go.
The talent of this team
and all you
is
need to do
absolutely
is fly
insane.
and have fun. And it really is an onboarding experience.
Especially like what you pointed out about
and
the.
then we noticed on the PC side that people are really love to explore the world.
engine creation.
Yeah, the engine part.
Like
Thank you.
What?
That's what I always wondered. Like Flight Sim, what engine is this running on? I mean, I know
it's using Forza Tech, and I think part of their own engine too.
That's what I thought. Like, I know they started with Flight Sim X as a base, and then built off of there. But like the renderer part itself specifically, I just wonder what the renderer is that runs this crazy game.
In game, so we now have labels in game where you see, you know, here's Everett, over there is, you know, whatever, and you learn about the planet more, and it's a much more enriching experience. Just experiencing the
But
planet.
I love this game. Like, it's just one of those games that you just fire up, put on a podcast. I mean, I used to listen to Nick and John while I'd be flying around Colorado. You know,
it's such a casual game, but not in a bad. Like, I don't. That might come off bad, but it's not. Like, it's
not intense.
Yeah, it's very relaxing. It's very.
I speak for myself. Like, I'm
totally motivated to get better and hard difficulty, and you don't know what you're doing, and then it's unbelievably intense.
Yeah. There's so many times, like, I was so proud of myself just flying from Columbus to Cleveland. But then I tried to land at the airport in Cleveland, and apparently. Huh?
I can't land. Like, I can't
no,
figure out
I tear my airplane apart. Like, all of a sudden, like, things start beeping and the screen goes black, and it basically says that I tore my wings off because I was descending too fast.
You can literally click "I want to go somewhere" and it will fly you there.
That's awesome.
Oh, really?
Which are sometimes
It's an AI
for people. Like, you can
Huh.
click on the airport and say, please.
My biggest thing is
and then the last thing is, if you really get yourself in
That's
trouble,
awesome.
like you stall out the plane.
My
or
biggest
something
thing
like
is
that, you can
not
actually now
figuring out which radio channel or whatever to switch to, so the air traffic controllers will let me actually land.
Super helpful. I think people
because I play with the controller a lot of times on the PC.
Yep.
Which may be part of my mistake, but I don't know.
I do wonder how they're going to translate an entire controller experience. I'm sure it's doable, but like when I play on my,
it works really well.
Oh no, yeah.
It's easier than like I fly better actually controlling the plane on the controller. Because you do the fine stuff. It's much faster mouse and keyboard.
Yeah,
but you can't get to everything.
No, yeah. So like it's a mix between because I use my controller too, and it's a mix between controller and mouse and keyboard. But you know they're not going to have that option on console. So
God, this is one of those. Yeah, I landed once maybe in that game.
Oh, Top Gun on the NES! I love that game. I was like the only one of my friends that can land. I loved landing in that.
It's not easier.
So sad. It was so broken, but it was so satisfying.
To help you learn how to actually fly a plane. I think we're going to achieve that.
And then my TV there.
So
I think whenever she's not
one
home,
thing on PC is there's a ton of flight accessories that you can use as far as various peripherals and controls.
Look over and marvel every once
What
in
are
a
you
while.
going to be able to bring to the console that can somewhat replicate that experience?
Totally.
Yeah, this is one of those
Oh,
things
here
I
we
think
go.
I'm going to buy as well, not just play it on Game Pass.
It's the Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS 1. If you have that, and then there's also the HOTI HOTAS.
Yeah, pretty much.
Stick.
They're
And
talking
so we
about
fully
the
support those
peripherals
two, and then we
which
work
people
with
were
all the
wondering.
main top-notch peripheral makers, both on PC and Xbox. And all I can say is there are going to be some really good announcements coming up. Yeah. And for Core Simmer, I can say you can now play. We have the software to have a full Core Sim experience, and we'll have the hardware on Xbox. All for the first time.
My wife will never let me get one, but
that's
I
going
would
to be
really
great. Now, we
Yeah.
obviously had the funny
Are they
start
typically
with
expensive?
the Top Gun Maverick.
I never
$49
You announced that, but can you
How
go
much?
into a little more detail about
300,
that?
which is
Yeah, I
on
mean,
the low end.
Whoa!
We couldn't be more excited, right? Like, I mean,
It's a
That's
Turtle
on the
Beach
low
one.
end.
It's
extreme company. If you
$350.
think about entertainment and
Man.
the franchises
And you
that
see people who
celebrate
literally build
aviation,
entire
you will
cockpits.
actually
Yeah.
come to
I
Microsoft
know.
Flight Simulator and
And I'm like,
It's
man,
amazing.
I gotta pay
it's a
taxes
perfect
this year.
marriage.
I gotta
So,
save up for a
I can't say that
vacation.
much
Like,
about it because the movie obviously is, keeps everything under wraps. But if you watch the trailer carefully, you saw there's some FA-18s, and there's an aircraft carrier. There might be another plane. And then I can say is we're going to go fast.
I wonder if there's,
like
what about the
fast,
F-14 Tomcat? Come
we're
on.
going to be in the danger zone with this one.
That is going to be great. Really looking forward to
Didn't you
that.
just
Now,
say
as
that?
we wrap this
Did I
up,
mishear?
Oh, I thought he
not
said
much else you
F-18.
can say about the Maverick expansion pack, but what else can people expect from Flight Simulator in the near future?
A lot. So ever since launch, we said
they just updated it
we're
today.
going to launch and have a new update, like a big, meaningful update every single month.
With
We
the
launched 9 months ago, and
Nordic.
we had 9 updates.
Yeah.
So we have
that's
something
right.
that's called World Updates, where we just pick
I
a
think
zone on Earth,
we've already
like the
written a
United
story,
States or
or
Japan, or
he's talking about like what the next
England and
update
Ireland,
is.
and we make that really better. Like we get the latest,
This one will
the
be nice
best
to go
possible
look at.
satellite imagery. We create an elevation map that basically makes the mountains look better. We create 3D cities. Like after launch, we launched London and Paris. And we also make missions, so we celebrate the planet, like with these updates. And we're just going to go around the planet. We're shipping 2 more
That's so cool.
this year.
Yeah,
and
that's
6
awesome.
more next
Celebrating the
year.
planet is
We
like
also have
the
something called
best
sim
way to
updates,
describe it.
simulation updates, where we
Yep.
work with the manufacturers of planes, with the flight sim community out there that knows tons about everything, and also with real-world pilots. And we're basically
I wonder
making
if they're
the
going to
sim
have the
better and better.
ridiculous
The goal is to make
mod
the
store
ultimate sim.
on
It's
console.
the perfect thing
Imagine
of
they
totally
will.
authentic.
Yeah, I
And
bet they
then
will. I
on
mean,
top of that, you should expect the
Just
unexpected.
have a giant
like with-
SpongeBob
just like with
SquarePants
Maverick,
instead of the Empire
which I
State
don't think
Building.
people really saw coming. There will be more
And
of that.
Godzilla
And I
in
think
Japan.
All I can say is it'll get
that would be,
gamers
oh my God, that would
and
be
the
so
simmers
awesome.
both their hearts
I mean,
pounding. So
Those are both
keep
real
watching
mods.
the skies.
it's
That is
kind of
awesome.
disappointing
Now,
that
again, I'm so excited that more
there's no
people are gonna
combat.
get to
Because
play
you
Flight
imagine like that
Simulator. I've
Godzilla
been
mod
playing it
with
on
the Top
PC.
Gun
I love it. I highly
pack,
recommend everyone.
and you're
do the
just
flight
like
from LA to
flying down in
Paris. It was
Tokyo
really
and
good,
just
very
with a
cathartic.
couple of jets with
But
friends
as
and
we get out of
blowing
here,
them up,
I want to
trying
thank
to.
you so much for taking
Like the
some time
potential
to
here
talk
for an
about Flight
actual
Simulator.
combat
Can't wait for that
simulator
expansion
is
Thank you so much. It was
Thank
is
you.
also
Thank
huge.
you.
Yeah.
Still to come, we have Grounded, Shredders, and of course, Halo Infinite. But first,
I wonder if we're
the
gonna
best PC games
Adam
of 2020 was
Benecki
Hades,
is
and
gonna
it's
be the
got
one
a
they
ton
talk to
of
for
awards to
Grounded.
prove it. Here's a closer look at what we can
Bring
expect
other
from Supergiant
Supergiant
Games later
games.
this year on Xbox Series
Yeah,
X
no
and
kidding.
S.
I was just talking to my wife about that because she's a huge
We just
Bastion
announced
fan.
that
She,
Hades,
she
like- and I
the
like
Game of the Year
Transistor.
winning
I played it
roguelike
on-
dungeon crawler, is
Mhm.
coming soon to
I've-
Xbox.
I played it
and
on
I
Apple
want to introduce
TV.
you to some of the gods, ghosts,
I
and
never
monsters
played
you'll
Pyre.
meet in our
I didn't
rendition of
understand
the
it.
ancient
I didn't
Greek
either.
underworld.
But
You don't need any
Supergiant,
prior
like,
interest in Greek myth
part
to
of
get
the
into
reason
Hades,
it's still
but
around
as you
was
play,
because of
maybe you'll
Bastion's
get to
success
wondering
on the
how much of this
360.
stuff comes from mythology.
So
The
it
answer is
was always
a
kind of
whole lot.
sad to see
Greek myth is filled with wild,
Xbox
fascinating,
fans kind of
often
get
contradictory stories of these
looked over, I
larger-than-life
guess.
characters.
So it's
The
nice
Olympians
that
are a big,
this is coming home.
complicated family.
I wonder how much of that
always
has to do
bickering
with
and always pushing each other.
Matric and all that.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
because in the beginning of the Xbox
Everything
One,
around Xbox Live Arcade.
Let's
That's
start
about
with
Yeah.
Hades
yeah,
himself.
in the beginning of the Xbox One, it didn't seem like indies were focused, and the ID Xbox was like hastily put together
He's often
to.
relegated to the role of
Don't
villain
get me
in
wrong,
many
it
modern
turned into like
adaptations
an
of Greek
amazing
myth,
program.
But in classical mythology, he's a
But
complicated
you know,
guy
like
and much
at
more
the
principled than some of his
reveal,
brothers
or
and
Far more
sisters.
so than
He's so
I mean now
fascinating, we
indies
made a whole game
are
about him.
held up to the same level
As the god of the
as
dead, Hades has an imposing
as
reputation
first
to live
parties
up to,
on
so
stages,
he even
especially.
has a
You know,
monstrous
which
pet.
I mean, one of my
the
favorite games of the
three-headed
show was
hound
replaced.
Cerberus.
Yeah,
The
oh
idea
my
that the
God, that
savage
looks so
beast
good.
Like
was
I
still
would
somebody's
love
pet
to see
dog
more
crystallized
replaced.
how we wanted to portray
Yeah,
the
my
gods in
Blade Runner
Hades.
heart was
And despite
just
being
fluttering
immortal
the
and
whole time.
all-powerful, they're not
I
so
like
different
this
from the rest
game.
of us.
I don't
Though,
understand
let's not
why it got so many
forget
games over the
Zagreus.
years, but I did
We've
really,
heard from
I
many
really
players who
enjoyed playing
figured
it.
Zagreus was a god of our own
And
creation.
it is
After all,
cross progression
who's
between
ever heard of
Switch
Hades
and
having any kids?
PC, so I'm really
But
hoping when
according
I
to
say
some
this
ancient
comes over
sources,
to
he
should.
did.
Greetings, Father. My ransacking was a delight, thank you for asking. So I'll just be on my way again.
In classical
Saw your
mythology,
message,
Zagreus
Jesse.
is a little-known chthonic god, meaning a god of the
I see.
underworld,
I waited. I
sometimes
wanted to
associated
wait to
with
play Hades
Dionysus, the god of
because
wine.
actually
But
I
in
was
other
waiting
cases,
for it to
he
go
is
on sale on
associated
Switch,
with
and I always
Hades.
missed it.
How could Hades have a
And
son nobody knows
I was
about?
literally
How
just
does he
thinking
fit
about
into
this
the
the other
myths
day,
we
just
do know of
freaking
Hades?
buying it it, and then the show happened. I'm like, okay,
answering these questions
it's gonna get on Game Pass.
For the entire story of
Wait,
this
what's
game.
going on?
If you're the prince of the underworld,
Hades,
who do you get as your personal trainer? That would be Achilles, a near invincible warrior in his
It's like Nick's age-old. I'll just wait for it to get on Game Pass. You know.
Remember your training out there. The pain of death.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying something about
Hades
Jesse's message.
after
Okay.
his untimely demise during the Trojan War.
Oh, those
Once
were
he's
two
had a lot of time to
totally
reflect
different
on his
thoughts.
life
I'm
choices.
sorry.
Achilles
I was
lived
just
in
making sure I
glory,
didn't miss
so
anything.
He's got an okay gig in the afterlife, but some wretched souls end up in a really
You
bad
say I
spot in
did?
the underworld. And for better or worse, they get to meet Megara.
Ever stubborn, aren't you? Maybe my whip might make you reconsider whatever it is that you're attempting.
Jesse, how's the music in this one? Because that's the other thing about Supergiant games that always. Okay. They have some of the best soundtracks.
Everything about this game is very good. And probably my favorite one they've done.
These two
really?
have a
Wow.
long history, and since the story of Hades
like,
keeps moving
it's
forward
also
each
like
time
the
you play,
fastest, and
the more you run into
fast one was a little
Megara, the better you'll get to know her.
Princess
There's
Peach
also
is
Thanatos.
turn-based action point.
He may decide to drop in on you when
This
he is
one
busy
is,
whisking the souls
plays
of the
really
recently
well,
departed to the underworld.
looks really nice. There's really good variety in the builds you can come up with, which is always a key thing. So
I always hope that these guys also do well, just in general. I mean, I don't know if any of you have watched the No Clip documentary, but you know they had their offices broken into during quarantine, and
Thanatos has a
which
couple of
was
brothers
just
in Hades, such
gross.
as
It's
Hypnos
just
here,
horrible
the
what
personification of
people can
sleep.
do, but to see that they're still around, they're making great games, and they're succeeding is
When he's not dozing on the job,
love to see
Hypnos
it.
can comment on every single possible way you can die in this game, of the
bring
dozens and
in
dozens of
my
different
damn
possibilities.
save. please.
Where did all these gods of the underworld come from anyway? According to the Theogony, an ancient Greek
I imagine that'd
creation
probably
myth
be
by
in there.
Hesiod
I
that
hope so.
introduces all the gods and their ancestors, many of the chthonic gods came from Nyx, the personification of night.
Darkness guide you, child. You have outgrown this house. Of that I am now certain. Should you return again here, I shall keep you safe.
She is a primordial goddess, meaning she is much older even than Hades or the Olympians. And in our game, she has an
the
important
upgrades
role
feel
in
good.
the underworld,
It's
not the
it's
least of which
everything
is
about it
helping
was
you
very
unlock some of
obviously
your hidden
lovingly
power.
crafted over a
There
long
are
period of
30 different
time,
characters to
though
meet and grow closer to the
the
more you
goddess
play
Aphrodite
Hades,
there
and we
is
hope you enjoy
ridiculous,
getting
and
to know
how she's
them
just
all.
completely nude.
Some of them feel
in her
truly
drawing.
ancient and godlike.
Okay, so that's what
scary.
was it? You or was it someone in our stream was talking about it being heavily sexualized?
This is an incredibly horny game.
13th.
I mean, Aphrodite,
super fun.
you know, in mythology, very much was the same. So,
Man, that's my birthday. Thank you, Xbox, for putting this
when
on
is
Game
it out?
Pass.
I missed it.
The 13th, August 13th.
There's just too many games.
Yeah, we're getting a month.
Yeah, we need a. Oh, and then the other one from. Oh God, what's the new one from Somerville? That one was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God! So the
This
atmosphere.
is where they did make an ID at Xbox montage, and here it is.
I'm afraid that Somerville's going to make me cry when the dog inevitably dies.
Oh yeah, Sable, like the dead one I've been playing, fantastic.
I got to get back into that. I fell through the floor and haven't gone back to it.
Yeah, there were some bugs.
The dog will die, the dad will die, the mom will die, and then you just be the little kid running around.
Oh my God! Why would you do that to me, Jesse?
I'm not. I didn't make the game.
Just coin right here from Jesse. It will be a family death simulator. You know, this is something that Abe and I have talked a lot about too. Like, you see a lot of these indie games,
yeah,
and because of the maturity of the tools from like Unreal, Unity, all these middleware providers, it's just going to make these indies pop more and you know, people will no longer be able to throw around indie as if it's some sort of
like low budget.
Yeah, exactly. I always remind people, Crytek is indie.
I mean, indie is so broad that it's been like perverted
By
because
definition,
it's independent.
Yeah, exactly. That is all indie means, but people use it like it kind of like some of these other things we've thrown around, kind of as a weapon and also as some sort of descriptor about, you know, its art quality or whatever, when a lot of times you can find exception after exception to that quote-unquote rule.
Everything they showed on Game Pass?
I think so. I think that's one of the things that they've...
I don't recall seeing anything that was not on Game Pass in here.
RoboQuest one looked interesting.
Yeah. Game Pass. Crowded. Obsidian has the best writers.
Yeah.
And they've got the best trailers. That Outer Worlds trailer was just so
Yeah,
great.
it was.
Here to
Self-deprecating. I
tell
love
us
it.
more about the Grounded update are Adam and Eric from Obsidian Entertainment. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for
And
having
then
us.
put AI
It's a
cameras in
pleasure
its
to be here.
Chinese
Yeah, it's a
offices
real
that
honor.
only allow
No,
smiling
absolutely.
workers
Love
inside.
Grounded, love everything that you guys have
Well,
been doing with
it
it. Now, my first
real life,
question
we happy
is
few.
this mushroom system. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so that's one of the big things for the
It
Shroom
smiles
and
so the
Doom
door
update is
opens.
mushrooms. We're really changing how the,
Sorry, I heard one of my cats.
yard is with mushrooms. Every mushroom that you see in the yard is now harvestable, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So the small
They
ones,
get
the big
separation
ones,
anxiety.
the big toadstools, the ones that you find in caves. Now, those were present in the yard before, but now you can actually harvest them and get mushroom stuff out of them. The next kind of part of that is that we're
I've got
adding
a
base
spoiler
building
for the show
elements,
later about
like
Halo.
mushroom bricks.
Yeah.
I'm going to
So
say
you
it no
have to
matter
take
what
all
you
the
guys
mushrooms that
say.
you find,
They're going to
and then you
re-announce
have
that
to
it's
grind
coming
them
out
up in a
holiday
grinder, which is a
2021.
new building, and then you have to take them to your oven, which is another
You
new
heard it here
building that
first.
we're adding, and bake the mushroom stuff into bricks. And then
This will be
with the
longer
mushroom brick
than the
buildings, there's a
E3,
whole
you know,
host
the
of new
main
options
show
for
by the
base
time we're done.
builders. And it's more fortified
I'm okay with that.
walls.
Oh,
and
me
a
too.
bunch of other
Like
options
this
so
is
you can build a
this
cool
is
big
exactly what I
castle.
wanted. You know,
Man.
you show
That's really cool.
you show just a
Now,
massive
we saw the
range
Brood
of
Mother,
games
so
and
when you bring
everything, and then you do
bosses
deep
into
dives
Grounded,
in this kind
what
of
can you
setting
tell me
where it's
about
more
that? What does that
personalized.
mean
Yeah.
for the direction
And-
of the game
and
as
I-
we move forward?
Yeah, so
I think there probably would have been less
so we actually
less
launched with the
request
Brood
for it
Mother,
or wishing
and
for
we
it in the
didn't
main
really
show
feel
had
it
they
hit
made
the
this
right mark,
known
so we took
during
the Brood
that
Mother
show.
out,
You know, like
and we wanted to spend a lot
they
of
should have said
time
like
making it a
tune
really
back in
memorable
for
boss
this.
fight.
Oh man.
So we put a lot of development effort in behind the Brood Mother, and
Brood
it's going to
Mother.
really feel like
Yeah.
a big, huge fight and a memorable one. There's a lot of kind of cool things with it. I don't want to spoil
Like the
everything.
regular
I want players
spiders
to
just
kind of
freak the
experience
hell
it
out
for
of me. I can't
themselves.
imagine
But, it
willingly
definitely
going
is,
after that thing.
Something that we want players'
I
feedback
need to play more of this
to
game.
see
It's
like
so,
You gotta
It's
kill
so
your
good.
fear,
what do
man.
they not like? How is the challenge? We want to make it really challenging.
I'm not even
and have a
arachnophobic,
good
and yet it
reward
still
for
just
defeating the
gets
Brood
me.
Mother. But is it going to be? Is it too hard? We'd like to know that. So for future development on Grounded, like we want to make more bosses, and so we want to get all that feedback to improve the system.
Now, you actually bring up a great point
And I
about
love
community. I'll
how
put a pin in that and come back to it in a
Obsidian
second.
has,
So, I know
like,
you don't
this
wanna
is one of the
spoil
reasons I've
anything
been
about
saying from the
Brood
get-go
Mother, but
why they are
is
such
there
a
any
huge
tips you can
get,
kind of give people ahead of time
and
on what they can
arguably
do
one
to
of my
survive
favorite
that encounter?
developers.
I would definitely say that you
but
would need to make sure you
how
have the highest tier
efficient
armor.
and
gear
multi,
up really
you know,
well for
how
this
they're
fight,
able
'cause
to
it is
run
going
so
to be
many different
difficult.
projects
And then
simultaneously,
the right
and each
mutations
one,
equipped as well.
like this is a game that they've never done before.
And
This
if
is
you're
the
playing
type of
with your
game they've
friends,
never done before, and it
it might be
still
good
feels
for one of your
like an
friends or
Obsidian game
yourself
for
to
one,
use the brand
and
new
two, it's
crossbow
still
to
got
put into the game,
the
so you can have some
polish
range DPS while someone else like face
that
tanks the Brood
Yep.
Mother. So it's gonna be
they've
pretty
never
cool.
really
That's
been
pretty
able
cool.
to
So
do
again, going back
outside
to
of
the
like
community,
South Park
I know
because of
you
the
love
budgets
getting
that they've
feedback
had,
about
you know.
Grounded,
So it's
obviously starting as
and
an
ridiculous
early
time
access game,
frames.
but
and ridiculous, yeah.
what
Like
are
New
some
Vegas,
of the things
arguably
that
the best
you're looking for as
Fallout,
far as
and
in this update? Is what was
got a ton
something
of
that
issues
you
because
got
it was
They do
it was
KOTOR
rushed out.
2, and they had like
Yeah, they did
this
KOTOR
update?
2, and they got cut short.
So there's you know, it's one thing that we love
But, like-
working
And then
with the
people, like,
community.
patched
So
it all
that's
back into
something
the
that
PC, and it was
as
all good
developers,
stuff.
we
They
love
just
just
didn't
hearing
have
what
the
they have
time.
to say about
Right.
the game, and we're
Right.
continually developing it with the community. So there's
It's
a lot of
like
new
what you were saying
things
a second
in
ago,
in our new update.
Daniel.
One of
It's
those
crazy
things is,
because
flipping buildings.
I
and
did that
that's one thing
preview
that we're
video
really,
or whatever, that first
uh,
impressions video when this
just
game
adding,
first
like, those
came
little
out,
features.
and one of the
Another
things that
one
kept on
is just sprinting up ladders, which
hitting
is
me over the
something
head
that,
was
like,
just how polished
you know,
it was
just
for
hearing
a
people how they
launch
interact with
early
ladders
access
and
game.
adding a sprint
Yeah.
mode. Another
And
one
you know,
is
I played
one of
a
our,
lot of
funnier
like Ark,
features
for
that we're adding
example,
is sitting in
and even
chairs.
after
Yes.
years
So it's something
of
that
Ark
a
being
lot of
on the
people really,
market,
really wanted.
It is the
it was
opposite
We're
of
also
polish.
interested in like the
yeah,
first
it was
phase
nowhere
of
near as
the
polished
pets
as
in
this
the
was
game,
day
so we're
one.
gonna start with aphids, so you'll
Yeah.
Running on the
retain
same
aphid,
engine. Now, granted,
you are with the aphid,
polished.
but you also gotta make sure you
No, it's not.
Because
But granted, like Microsoft's fork of Unreal Engine 4 is on another level,
So we're really
but still,
excited to announce
you know,
that we have
it's
achievements in Grounded, and
it doesn't take away
purely
from the
based
fact
on
of how
everyone's
polished this
feedback.
was
Everyone's
at
been
launch,
wanting
and especially for a
achievements,
genre
so we're
they never
finally
did
adding them to
before.
the game.
That's
Exactly.
And with a team of
Now,
what,
again,
12
sticking
people,
with this,
14,
the
14
topic of
people, yeah,
community.
like less than
So
20
this was an
people.
early access game,
Yeah.
and it sounds like pretty much
Like
the
that's the
foundation
thing
of what
too. I
Grounded
always
is
remind
was
people
built
that's
off
one of the
of
reasons I
community
keep
feedback. So
hoping for more
how does
acquisitions
that
because the
process work
internal
internally for you
tools that
as
they
far
have
as
and the
people submitting, like, hey,
cooperation
I
among
wanna
teams
sit,
that
you know, I
Phil
want
and
achievement
Booty
events.
have
Like, how does that
really
whole process work?
We have
encouraged
a lot of
just makes
like avenues where
everything
we
better. I
gather
mean, it makes the
feedback from
games better, it
community.
makes
So
them less
we do weekly
buggy.
developer streams where
The
chat can ask a bunch of
fostering
questions
of
with
knowledge
Adam on or other
is
developers or myself.
something that can't be
and we'll
described enough.
gather feedback in sessions there, and then our main source of feedback is through our our official Discord.
Yeah, I mean,
granted the game.
During our interview, when I asked him like what changed from the acquisition, he's like pretty much nothing. Like, it's been a smooth transition, and it's just
a couple members of the team and
the resources.
Team get together,
and we have leave teams to do what they want to do. Just provide resources and funding, and like some of the Xbox engineers and first-party engineers I follow, they're like,
thank you so much for taking some time.
The benefits that we've received, especially like they added some like wellness days because of COVID and working from home, and like the dissolving of work and life balance. So they're trying to encourage health. I mean, there's just so many like little things that are your kind of typical intangibles that kind of get glossed over. But
Xbox Series X
I don't know, it just seems like it's a really great place to foster creativity at this point.
Yeah. Where you'll get an extra glimpse on our snowboard game that's called Shredders.
This is fulfilling my 1080 sequel wishes 20 years late.
Yeah, 1080. The first Amped specifically, because like the first Amped was a bit more, I guess, simish. Yeah. And then Amp 2 was more
amazing, but it's so goofy.
Oh yeah, I loved Amp 3 because of just the humor behind it. But it was such a departure from the first one. The second one was kind of like this in between
this mountain resort is called Frozen Wood. It's
Amped and like SSX Tricky in a sense. Like it was a bit quicker pace, a bit more arcadic. If I remember correctly, it ran at 720p on OG Xbox, which is really impressive. It looked amazing.
More than you would expect in a normal mountain resort. But hey, this is a video game.
Yeah, I wanted to get into Steep, and on some levels I do from time to time. But it's such a Ubisoft game, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But there's just so much to do. There's so many points over the map, and do what?
We can also just
someone who talked in chat is named ha 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 ha. I did these friend Bonifacio, and they typed ..
was shown in the trailer, or you can go up there, like take some huge kickers and big rails at the big park. And just look how big this mountain range is.
But
like
this
we've
just
got
looks
space
so
for industrial areas and street areas. There's backcountry, high mountain
I love
There's even an old Italian-looking village you can shred.
The snow mist, stuff like that. Like the particle effect system in this is really, really well done.
And even the volumetric fog that you've got over there from low-level condensation, like it looks convincing.
But hey, having a fun and realistic environment is nice, but it's not fun without nailing the riding itself, right?
Yeah.
I wonder what they're running this on.
Snowboarding, a big inspiration for us all. I think it's been pro riders, snowboard movies, and all the crazy stuff that they do on a snowboard. And of course, ourselves riding in real life and just having fun and being creative on a snowboard. That's something that we want to bring into the game. Conceptually, we're trying to keep the convention of one stick for the board and one stick for the body, and directly map that onto the snowboarder. So at any point you should get a physical or animation response as soon as you're touching those sticks.
Yeah.
And it gives you a lot of freedom in your playstyle. So you can choose to be smooth and lazy, or if you are more like fast and aggressive, or you can change up your style however you want. You want the
it just looks so serene.
And stylish while still being
one of the things I miss about the mountains.
So that's a big challenge, and we had to create a complete animation.
Yeah, like every sports game doesn't have to be edgy.
And here you can see the board interacting with the snow.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that with the Riders Republic, but just how unbelievably over the top it is at all times, every second.
I think that's the thing that turns me off of Steep. Even though I bought it, it's like I can't play that. I can't play it that much because it's like it's too unfocused, and it is like it does try to be a little bit edgy when it just needs to be a good snow traversal game.
So for the trickster system, we're trying to give as much control as possible to any
like that volumetric lighting there, Mike. I don't know if you saw it, but that looked again, especially for a small studio game, like
every grab you can do, you can also tweak it out with the board stick.
There's some really good looking tricks that I imagine are going to be unbelievably hard to ever actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to do a 360 skiing in real life one time, and
what the hell? You are crazy, man.
Oh yeah, and it was right next to the ski lift. So when I bailed and rolled halfway down the slope, I had to crawl back up, and the whole everybody was laughing. It's great.
A new generation built to fight. Together, we are.
I love the personal AI too. Like it's one of those little touches that makes you feel like Chief when you're not playing Chief. You know, you've got your paired AI.
It's a good way to connect the campaign to the multiplayer, like the world.
Yeah. Yeah, this looks so good.
You can use that repulsor for a lot of stuff. Like you can use it to hurt people too when you're too close to you.
Yeah, I saw that. It's just
the pulsar, the thing that bounces.
The one that pop up and it reflects like that. It also can knock you up for like a grab lift jump.
Oh.
And you can hit people with it.
Yeah, the mechanics. Sorry, Justin, but the sandbox in this is going to be insane.
The addition of more physics-based mayhem to the gameplay is,
Yeah.
And sandbox is the right term. I just joke about how awful.
Yeah. I described it this morning on our forums as like Halo 3 and Halo 5 had a baby.
Yeah.
And improved on each of their respective aspects.
That's what we were. I said the exact same thing last night. We were talking about it because it's.
The flag is ours.
And the lighting on the the
I'm getting distracted in my thoughts just looking at that.
You mean the lighting that Nick said is terrible?
What?
I'm not going to talk about that. He needs glasses more than I do.
Yeah, his vision must be so bad. He was like, this just looks like Halo 5 to me, and everyone's like, what are you talking about?
I mean, we're about to go to the art doctor. You want to come?
Honestly, I was thinking I probably shouldn't say this, but I've been thinking about doing like a deep dive on the trailers of like frame by frame and just pointing things out. But
there have been a few that people put out, and then they come to conclusions that make absolutely no sense to me.
Right. I've watched a couple, and I'm like, man, I just don't think you're playing the same game that I'm playing.
I'm so excited to have Tom, Alex,
or know
and
much
Quinn
about tech.
343 Industries.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem.
Mike,
even like their story
I've watched this
conclusions
multiplayer
make
trailer
no sense.
numerous
Like, where they
times,
think the story's
and I
going.
want to see some
Oh yeah,
specific
they probably also
elements
never
so we
read
can
the
break it
books or
down.
anything like
So
that
can
too.
we roll the trailer to 15 seconds in and let's talk about a new character?
You saying that to Halo one more time, I'm gonna block you.
A new generation built to fight.
Just a warning. You tighten that during Halo Infinite coverage, you get timed out.
Oh, come on.
This ain't a democracy.
This character, she looks like she's a jerk.
Your senses are right there. She's very much in charge. That's Commander Laurette. She's in charge of the Spartan Academy, which is the kind of contextual wrapper that the whole multiplayer universe lives in. She is basically training the new generation of Spartans to become better.
Also see
and that's
more,
really where everything wraps around. I really love
non-UNSC levels this
not
time
only is it
around.
kind of the contextual wrapper for the game, but
Yeah.
it's also we have a whole
Because I know
suite of
that
academy
they're going
features,
with
we
the
call them,
narrative,
where there's a
like
tutorial that teaches the players fundamental
foundation that
basics of the game.
it's
There's
in the
weapon drills
academy
that
and
let
all
you
this kind of
practice
stuff. But I
with
hope
every
that we do
weapon
get
that
to
exists
see,
in the game
you
and
know,
improve your skills
just
with those.
you could
And
even
there's a
say
whole
it's
thing
some
we
sort
call
of like
Triangle, which lets you
hologram,
play against bots
you know,
on any map basically in the game.
rebuilding
and
of
lets you
a
experiment with the toys
Covenant
and kind of learn
environment
the
or
flows
something
of
like
everything.
that.
So we
But
really want to bring players on board with the game, and again, under her orders and her charge.
It's 5 minutes,
Now,
by the way.
I want to go to 50 seconds in the trailer because there was a lot of
Cool.
action going on, and I want to check that out.
They went meh again. Probably imagine a show on Discord. Halo looks meh for months as it's using them.
No scope.
yeah, I don't think the grappling hook is limited use. Because in the equipment discussion on the blog, they mentioned the others, you know, like your deflector shield and
Now, you may have noticed I sat up in
the
my chair a
tracker,
little bit on that one
but
because
I
there
don't
was a
think
lot going
grappling
on there,
hook
so
is in that
please, if you
same
can break that down, let me know what
classification.
we're
I
saying.
bet you it is. Like you get to use it 2 or
There's a
3
lot to break
times.
down. I don't know if we got enough
I
time
wonder
to
if it's on a
get all the way
cooldown
into it.
more than anything
But the-
else.
Because
some of
otherwise,
the-
whenever you
the
die, it
things
just
that I
drops,
really
and
love
so
when I
there's
look
only
at
going to
that
be one grappling
trailer
hook
is
at the
that
start of a
first
game, and then
sequence
Yeah, I think
with the
it's
player,
going to
they
be
have
on
the
a
bulldog
cooldown.
shotgun, they're running through,
shotgunning.
I mean, hopefully, because it wasn't. I mean, they didn't just.
Commando off the rack. Put some shots in.
The trailer it didn't have a cooldown because he
the players interact
used it
with.
to grab a weapon.
What we call the sandbox, the toys that is.
You're talking about for multiplayer or campaign?
When he hooked in the big spike brute weapon, shot the warthog, and then immediately grappled up to the
yeah.
I imagine that was probably like a Fiesta
history as you just see what happened in that trailer, but that's just some of the stuff that players can do, and that's actually the game. That's not just a movie for cinematic.
I just feel like they would have said if it's a pickup or classification like the other equipment, they would have specified in that blog.
A few things are more important to Halo multiplayer than like interacting with the sandbox and combining it, picking it up off the map,
info
and
drops and
combining
shows
it to
about
awesome play styles.
the game leading up to launch.
What we did
Me too.
was
Just keep the hype up.
Sandbox item in the game. When it spawns, it's spawning on an object in the map, so you can see where those things can be found. And then it also tells you the respawn time of that item, when it's going to come back. And you always know, I can go grab that commando over at this spot like that guy did. So, and then when the players, accrue all those awesome items and do awesome things, you heard the return of Jeff Steitzer, the multiplayer announcer, shouting out medals. So we always want to give players medals when they do really cool things. So you heard some there, and you'll hear some later on in the trailer.
That's awesome. See, when I watch that, to me, that's Halo. That's Halo to me. I absolutely love that. Now, let's skip ahead a little bit more into the trailer to 57 seconds. I heard a voice, so I want to know what this voice is. Let's see it.
Oh, yeah, the personal AI. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the player's personal AI. So in Halo 5, there was a squad leader that announced, when weapons are going to come up, and other things going on in the match. And in Infinite, we have a player like Chief has Cortana. They have a personal AI in their helmet that is kind of telling them these things. And it's also another way that players can show their personality in their character.
At least that voice is.
There's multiple personalities and characters
going to be
for
multiples.
the player to choose, so that the right AI is in their helmet, helping them out in combat.
I want to skip ahead a little further here because I think I might have saw.
I wonder how that's going to sound with the surround sound with the surround sound on headsets. Like it just.
This one's going to be built for Atmos. Cause like I'm playing Exodus again, and that's built for Atmos. So I swapped out DTSX, and when it's built for Atmos, it's
a world of a difference.
Because DTSX takes anything and makes it sound very good, but Atmos games on Atmos
elevated.
Yeah.
Ordnance drop inbound.
That's what I'm saying. Like the positioning and stuff of this AI just feeding info to your ears.
It just sound like above your head or inside your helmet. Or something.
Yeah. The flag is ours.
Yeah. So she's taking over for the commander who used to go at you.
At your earliest convenience.
I kind of hope that there's still that Spartan banter.
That looked like Big Team Battle to me. What's coming new? What are we going to do in Big Team Battle in Infinite?
I mean, it's not even just that. I mean, it actually opens with actually a 4v4 with a vehicles map called Behemoth at the beginning. So we actually are bringing vehicles back into the 4v4 arena. But then, yes, it definitely transitions into the 4v4.
The real question is, are we going to get Blood Gulch again?
Where we're actually making it a bigger team battle this time. Really wanting to index into the battle fantasy with the more players. Where instead of like vehicles just spawning around the map, we have Pelicans drop them off. We have ordnance pods that drop in new weapons. And inside of that whole time, you have the battle commander, Lorette, talking in your ear, giving you orders and trying to kind of encourage you to play around, but really just bringing the whole sandbox and the play style around this whole battle experience that we're building.
Yeah, Tom brings up some good points there.
Seeing them in this versus the Ast 343 where they're at home and
your commander on the comms, and then you've got the Pelicans dropping vehicles and items off. You got drop pods, everything. It just is like this theater of war.
It's been rough
this
for
time
everybody.
around. It is this 12v12 bigger team battle, if you will. And just that ending segment, which is like the capture the flag
joked
match,
about how they were going to call it bigger team battle the other day.
The Pelican dropped the Banshee off. Teams fight over it. You
then
and
they'll
your
have
teammate are just making a
biggest
beeline for the Banshee. Your teammate gets picked off by the sniper, and you're like, oh no, and then you get the skewer, take that sniper out, jump into the Banshee, and you hit the jets and fly up into the sky and go for the enemy flag. That to us is what is so exciting about this version of Big Team Battle, with all of the toys, all the vehicles, the modes coming back, the maps, the brand new maps that you see there. I mean, it's going to be an amazing experience.
Yeah, trust me, I cannot wait to get my hands on it for myself. But let's move on. I want to go to 208 in the trailer because I think I saw a samurai. So let's check that out. Let's go to 208 in the trailer.
I do love how they're just like breaking this down moment by moment.
Yeah, by actual timestamps.
Yeah.
Now, show me what you can do.
It's awesome.
Okay. So I guess next will be a ninja because that was definitely a samurai. So kind of talk about that. So we're going to start seeing some more customization with the armor coming in.
Yeah, I mean, that is a samurai Spartan armor. And so it'll be an armor you'll be able to unlock for free in the first season, which is super cool. Players will be able to equip it, you know, gain more armor pieces and customization options for it, etc. across the season. And then we actually have more of this stuff kind of coming down the line. There's actually some really cool ideas that we're seeing in that our team that's building that stuff. So there'll be a lot of other cool armors besides just the really core Halo Spartan armors. There'll be some other different kind of twists and things for players to play with.
As long as I can get my ODST armor.
Before we get out of here, first of all, I want to thank all of you for being here to talk about Halo Infinite. I'm excited. I can't wait to get my hands on it and play it. But before we do leave, is there anything else that you want to bring up and let fans out there know about?
Well, I'm excited for people to actually get their hands on it like yourself. So, I mean, if people sign up on our Halo's Insiders program, we have in the summer, we have a technical preview that we're going to be launching for people to finally get put their hands on
I'm
the
signed up
sticks.
for
I'm
it.
just really excited for players to actually finally get
They've got a whole thing now where you like you can sign up on a per game basis.
Yeah, I saw that
too. Which is new to the franchise. The team is super excited to hopefully bring in, you know, all sorts of fans that have potentially never experienced the franchise or haven't played it in a long time to just try it out.
I can't
come
imagine
in
how
and
nerve-wracking that is to be one of their net engineers.
Oh yeah.
Haven't played Halo before. I'm like, well, it's free. Just come on. Let's jump in, download it. Let's check it out. And if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, then hey, it's not. But kind of think it'll be for you. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that's the other big key of that point is PC, right? Like this is a PC game as well. We've been putting a lot of effort into that. So not only is it going to be console, but also PC, free to play. Like the barrier to entry is so low, and that has us excited.
Hey, so fun fact,
really,
that little bit about
really think about it is we've been
flight sim, all that kind of stuff, streaming to Xbox Ones via xCloud. That's exactly what I've been talking about with hopes for what they'll do with the campaign of this game, because the multiplayer, you know, that's easily scalable. But if they could do that for the campaign, they could still say they support Xbox One, but then we get a full-fledged, you know, generational leap of a campaign.
Do you mean at launch or?
Hell yeah, I would hope it would be.
Yeah, no, I would love it for it to happen at launch.
But no, I think probably down the line when they start throwing out expansions that really utilize the fundamentals of the series consoles, you know.
Yeah, and especially if they ever do like a
dive video with the whole multiplayer team over on HaloWaypoint.com. And allow me to give a big thanks to everyone who's joined us today.
I am realizing that they showed the Kraken's face in the Sea of Thieves gameplay.
Oh,
nice.
Just seeing the tentacles when he was the thing busting through the wall. Those were his tentacles.
Oh, they actually have
the
model
before I go,
nice.
Here's a gameplay deep dive from the team behind the highly anticipated Scarlet Nexus.
So it'll be popping up here. They're doing a Scarlet Nexus thing, and this was the weirdest demo. Like, there were things I really loved about
I dug it.
The gameplay feels like it really needs to have more to it. And like that skill tree's huge, so I hope it does, because by the end of it, it felt very samey, but it was very fun. I hope there's variety.
I love the art style. I've been stoked about this game since it was announced, so I'm hoping that it's actually an interesting game to play. I didn't play the demo yet, I probably need to.
このスオーの都市の見た目のインスピレーションは東京の景色と日本の90年代の景色をイメージしてます。ユニークなビジュアル部分っていうのはいくらかあると思うんですけれど、あと今回はセルシェーディングとリアリスティックな背景を合成するような見た目を選んでいるんですけれど、それはまず密度感を表現したいからというのが一つありました。 であともう一つはその
I think it's interesting that they are detailing cell shading, something that's been around since
またそこでも異質な
late 90s, mid 90s. I think the PS1 game
ただ単にセルシェーディングの
was
キ
the
ャラ
first
クタ
to
ーを
have
リア
it.
リスティックな背景に置いてしまうと浮いてしまって見た目が変になってしまうと懸念してたんですけれど、うまくそこを混ざるように工夫したというのが今回の苦労した点の一つではあります。で例えば今映像の中で東京タワーが映ってると思うんですけれど、これは日本では有名なランドマークで海外の人も見たことがあるかもしれないものと思うんですけど、その東京タワーがものすごく大きなサイズになっていて、でこれ3000メートル、富士山と同じぐらいサイズがあるんですけど、それだけ大きなもの、本当はそんなサイズない
rolling around in like grass and snow and
それだけ大きくすることによってちょっとおかしい異質な景色みたいのを作りたいっていうのがありました。
This game does look, I mean, the density of like the geometry and the environments is really, really well done.
その僕たちも知ってる街なんだけどちょっとおかしいみたいなそういった異質さを出したいっていうのがありまして、なので東京タワーも僕たちは知ってるものだけどすごく大きなこんな大きなサイズじゃないんだけどこういったものがこの街の中にあるってことで何かちょっと変な場所だなっていうふうに思ってほしいっていうのがあります。勉強しませんでした。で大きな桜の木というのは日本を代表する桜の木なんですけど、それがあまりにも大きなサイズになっていて、これもさっきの東京タワーと同じで異質さを感じてほしいと思ってやっていることです。
Zappo, you're here now. That's all that matters. No worries.
これが本作の特徴となる怪異という主人公たちに立ちはだかる敵なんですけど、この見た目については私はその新規 IP、新しい IP の新しいクリーチャーということで変わった見た目、何か興味を引く見た目にしたいというのが一つありました。でその上で私たちの感覚とは違うものを取り入れたいというのがきっかけにありまして、実際にアーティストの力を借りてこの怪異のデザインを再現しています。でそのアーティストの表現というのはその美しさがありながらもその死の世界だとかそのネガティブなイメージとポジティブなイメージを一つにしたような幻想的な表現をする作家の方なんですけれど、また彼らの動きについてこだわっているのは私たちの知っているような生き物でありそうで生き物のようであって私たちと違うものであるっていうのを表現したいっていうのがあったので、動きの中に一見動物のようで急に違うような動きをするだとか、人間のようでいて人間と違うような動きをする。
How weird is it that the one deep dive that we could probably easily talk over because they're not speaking English, but instead of reading is the one that we're the most quiet for.
Well, it's also just like I don't know. There's something about say what we want about Japanese games and pushing graphics and all that kind of stuff. Which, there are definitely some fair criticisms there, but their character design, their enemy designs are just so incredibly imaginative.
Yeah. Imaginative is the exact word I was thinking of too.
Yeah, I mean, just going back through Panzer Dragoon Orta, which I still need to get together. Like you look at the character designs and the enemy designs on that, and it's just, I don't know, it transports you to another world.
Yeah.
That few, I feel like few Western developers do as well. But I think it's also because of a level of familiarity that we may have with a lot of our myths and lore and characters that we kind of generate from those, you know.
She's not just competent, she is incredibly competent.
So it is, man.
In the demo, I actually preferred playing with her just because she had more like energy based, it seemed. Like her telekinesis or whatever.
Oh, so they're actually different skills and whatnot.
Yeah.
I agree, Michaela Norris. It is a letter.
実は未来予知の能力を持ってるキャラクターで、ちょっとこのユイトたちがやられそうだなっていうのはちょっと分かるようなシーンになっています。この頃ユイトの方は今止めてますけど、これはユイトの方では入らずに次のシーンに進んでいきます。っていう形で、進んでいくと、こういうふうに怪異が降ってきて 同じような状況に置かれてしまう。ユイトの方ではこういう風になってるんだなっていうのは分からずに進んでいきますが、重ねの方ではやっぱり
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's
Japanese games just don't seem that into easy all the time co-op.
それぞれがつながりを持って、そういう風なストーリーラインを作ろうとして、今回のこの
Love it, love it.
Yep.
I've been enjoying New Genesis so far too.
Me too. God, it's so. It's a fresh take.
Yeah, I mean, I'm somewhat disappointed that they took out the timing aspect that's been in Phantasy Star 1 and 2, but it's kind of has a bit more of an action angle, but it's still great. Like, and really enjoy the like the open world structure.
歳月を要しております。で、あとはですね、アクショ
I've
ン
been
の部分に
having
関して
a
も、
lot of fun gliding.
開発シーンとすごく議論して決めてまして、特にこの年力アクション、
No, I mean this.
どういう
Scarlet
風
Nexus.
な年力を使えたら
Yeah, you're still
皆
ahead.
さんが分かりやすく
Yeah,
直感的
but I
に
mean,
気
it's
持ちよくなって
been
もらえる
it's
かっていう
almost
ところは、
almost
非
3
常に
now,
こ
so
う
it should be
開発
just
の
about
中で
done.
もですね、議論を重ねてできてきた部分がありますので、この年力を
Good,
使う
because my lunch came in like right as we
スト
started.
ーリーですね、物語っていうのをぜひ楽しんでもらえればと思います。
And with a long Scarlet Nexus breakdown as part of the agreement to get into Game Pass,
サイボーグ
please.
009とかいろんなキャラクターがいろんな能力を使って戦う集団っていうものが大好きで、まあそういうそのいろんな能力を使う集団を改めてゲ
developers need
ー
any
ム化
more
したいっていう
proof, just look at
思い
how
で企画を立
successful
ち上げました。
Sega has been with their
あとそ
integration
の
in
サ
the
イキッ
Game
クアク
Pass.
ションのもう
It's
一つの主軸として
it's a
SOS っていうもの
no-brainer.
があります。
I think at
正
this
式
point,
名称は
and
ストラ
especially
グルア
next
ー
year,
ム
you
ズ
know, I
システ
took a
ムってい
bet
うんです
with
けど、
one of our
まあ
with one of
仲
our
間キャラクター
insiders
からそ
that
の超能力を借り受けるシステムですね。
by next
脳を
year
接続
we're
し
going
て
to
仲間
see
キャラクタ
a
ーから超能
dramatic
力を
shift,
借り
and
受
I
けること
think
で、まあいろんな超
after
能
that
力を
E3,
ユートと重ねは使えるようになります。今画面上
for
で
me
は
it just
放電の超能
solidifies that
力を
I
使
made
お
a
うとしてるん
good
ですけ
bet,
ど、まあ
but
放
we'll
電の
see.
超能力だけに限
I
ら
mean,
ず、
and after E3,
まあ
they
瞬
had
間移
the
動とか
in
透
a
明化とか、
seemingly rather
まあ
enormous,
ポピュラー
even
で
bigger
誰し
than
もが
launch
その一度は使
stock
ってみ
dump
たいっていう超能
with
力を
GameStop.
設定してます。
Just
本
brilliant.
作
Like
の
they
そ
probably held
の
off.
キ
That's
ー
why
ワード
stock's
とし
been
て
so
赤い線っていう
crappy
も
the
のがある
last
んです
month
け
or
ど、
two. It's like we're gonna
サ
wait
スを使
until
った時に
we
そ
put
の
on
赤
what
い
we
ケー
think
ブ
is
ル
gonna
が
be
背
a good
中に
show.
刺さっ
And people are
て
gonna be
そ
like, oh, I
の
really want one of
戦
those.
うこと
And
ができ
it
ます。
seemingly works because
そ
the
うで
amount
す
of
ね。
people I've seen going out
サス
and
ケー
buying
ブ
them now.
ルデザインする
Oh
とき
yeah,
にそ
yeah,
の
and
ま
our
あ
friend of
そう
the
ですね。
pod
見
and,
た人
and,
の
and
そ
site
の印象に
and
残ってインパク
compatriot
ト
from
に
Windows
残したいこと
Central,
がまずあったんですよ
Miles,
ね。で、そういう
was
時に
tweeting
見た
about
と
it
き
the other day.
に
He was in line
まあ
buying a Series
過去
S
タイトル
in
見たとき
for his
に例え
living
ばキン
room,
グ
and
ゲ
he
イ
was
ナー
just
の
saying
その
how
刺さ
many
ってる
people
ケーブル
were
だったりとか、
in there
あ
saying,
と
"Oh,
はそ
I'm
うですね。
here because the
まあ日
E3
本のアニ
show
メ
was
の
just
ガンツなんか
killer."
もそ
You
の
know?
ケーブルが刺さって
Yeah,
るところが収まってるところがすごくクールだったので、まあそのあたりはそのインスパイアされながらそのデザインっていうものを進
If
め
I
た
don't
経
get
緯
it
があ
at
りま
launch
すね。
because there's just so much coming out, I definitely,
はい、
if
本
it's not
作
on
で
Game
すね、
Pass, I'll pick
年
it up on.
力で
Yeah,
戦うんですけど、
pretty early.
まあ単純に投げ飛ばすだけ
Yeah,
じゃ
it's
なくて、
completely
この
different.
ロケーションに置いてあるオブジェクトをいろいろ活用すること
That's the
ができ
biggest problem I think now is that we're getting
工
to
事
a
現場
point
にあ
where
るので、
there's
工事現場のロケーションなので、ダンプを上から
there's
落と
just
した
too
んで
much
すけど、
content
まあそ
to
の
be
その
able
ロケーション
to, and
に
it
合っ
sucks
た
because it's
オ
never
ブジェク
been
トをまあ自
like
分
I've
なり
never
に
seen
扱うこと
such
が
a
できるということ
diverse,
が、
great-looking array of games coming out, but
ドラム
because
缶
of
を
us all being
世の中から
adults and,
水を出
and
して
having
そ
other
の
responsibilities, it's just like
太陽水浸し
the
にしてます。
battle
で、その
against
後
time
その
is like
まあサスの
not
放
so
電で
much,
戦うことで水
especially
浸し
because
にな
Game
った
Pass
その
takes
回
that
を
question
電気でしびれさせ
about
ると
can
い
I
うことができる
afford
ので、
more
そ
than
の
one or
まあ
two
超
of
能
these
力
games
と
at a
電気とその
time
サスを
for
組み合
over
わせ
a
て
couple
戦う
months
ところ
period,
が
whatever
まあ
it may
一つの
be,
特徴ではあると思い
it
ます。
takes that element
まあし
away.
っかり遊びたい人もそのカジュアルに遊
So
びたい
now
人
it's
も
just
まあ幅
do I
広く
have the
楽しめ
time?
るものが
Yeah, instead of do I have the money, it's do I have the time.
Right. Yeah, so much of my time right now even is just focused on trying to make good reviews for the site.
Yeah, your content creation is unparalleled.
ユートと重ねが展開することでオブジェクトが空間内に浮き上がって念力は使い放題になるんですけど一方で非常に強い負荷が脳にかかってしまいますね。なので自分の言動がちょっとおかしなことを言ってしまったりとか、あとは聞こえないノイズのような幻聴が聞こえたりとか、あとこのように途中で頭抱えて動けなくなったりとかすることがあります。で加えてですねこの残り時間の秒数があるんですけどこれが制限時間が過ぎるとゲームオーバーになってしまうっていう非常に危険な技になっています。
Yeah, they have lobbies or whatever you want to call it, but there isn't.
The forums were all influencers just saying, "Hey, check out my YouTube channel."
Yeah, I'm just hoping that enough people are able to get vaccinated that next year we can kind of see a normal return to form. There's just nothing. I mean, yeah, same. Road trip. I mean, it's just, we've had 2 years now of doing this type of thing, and it's clear that there are just some elements of these conferences that you just cannot emulate online. Even with the best technology and the best PR and all that kind of stuff, it's just, you need to be able to have, those schedules to sit down for interviews. You need to be able to have those, because it's cool that we got this.
Actually get hands-on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. It's cool that we got the 40 games that we did, but normally you'd be able to play Halo, you'd be able to play Psychonauts 2, you'd be able to play all the games that Microsoft and others show, and we just don't really get to. So,
and I think that might have contributed to the request for more deeper dives, because generally you get that deeper dive after the fact from previews and stuff, and
a lot of sites start hitting with this is what we got to play.
Yeah, exactly. We just didn't have that this year.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about this show right now. Is like that's clearly what this was designed to solve. It's also in a way like I kind of hope they do a mix of the on-floor experience and this again next year, because this is really democratized how, like you're not I'm not even going to get into the political situation regarding certain outlets, but you're not relying on somebody else to tell you how they felt about the game or what their experience was. You're getting to see it with your own eyes, It's a different experience. So I hope that they keep something like this while still having the on-floor show like they did in previous years.
How bad COVID is in Japan right now, and then they're about to do the freaking Olympics. I'm just really worried that it next year.
Same.
For Japanese developers.
Well, and even in the States, even in the States, the amount of people that have gotten the vaccine on the front end has dramatically slowed down, because you've got, people made it a political issue rather than a safety and health one.
That was the end.
It was cool.
Oh wow, I thought we were to have a send-off from Parris, but I guess that was it.
I think he probably introduced it by doing a send-off, and we.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he said, one more thing before we go was that. So yeah, that was cool.
Good. Yeah, I like that style where you get the quick hitters during the main show, and then one deep dive on like the big thing, and then this is that deep dive everyone else wanted for everything else.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah. And next year can be the Starfield deep dive on stage, or that can be something they show at QuakeCon.
I just next year I think they should have just announced it, make it known, if that makes sense.
What you talking about, Willis?
Huh?
Which the deep dive being announced.
Yeah, like announce the deep dive and the.
Gotcha.
This one definitely had the feeling of we are piecing this together from our puzzle box of clips right up to launch.
Yeah.
If it's an in-person event, it's obviously something that is locked in and you can plan much more. But when it's digital like this, it's such a different beast. And they were obviously really pushing things in, pushing things out.
I was going to say, that's what I was
saying. They literally recorded things and then pulled them out last second. You don't know why.
Right. A quarter of the content apparently was cut. So it'll be interesting to see. Does that make a return at QuakeCon?
Do they return to an inside Xbox or something?
I hope they do.
Could do recording.
I
stuff.
hope they do too.
I think there's a place for inside Xbox. Just tighten it up. Get rid of.
They're just gonna need it because they're gonna have so much to talk about. Yeah. You can't save it for the big conferences. You need to have your own show. You can't just be like, we're going to be at Tokyo Game Show, and then we're going to be at Gamescom, we're going to be at Game Awards, we're going to be at E3. They're going to have so much. They're going to need 3 or 4 of their own things every year.
Yeah, and this set the stage, no pun intended, to to build or inside Xbox like so many of us have kind of wanted to, where it's a lot more of these deep dives rather than a lot of the like the pacing, because the pacing in the inside Xbox shows were never really great. So
they were always stretching out things that weren't very interesting.
Yeah, I think Parris did a great job. You know, again, he set the stage or the foundation for how you build inside Xbox again. And I mean, it would be awesome if he would come back as a kind of a permanent host. You know.
Oh yeah, I thought he did great.
Whoever's directing these is just taking a completely different angle on everything. Like their last live shows or their last like E3, this E3, whoever is setting the pacing on everything is really focused on they want things to flow well, not take too long, and then have different versions where you can come in and you can do more. But the big show, fast, then stuff like this would be really smart. I hope they keep doing it.
Agreed.
Yep. Yeah, completely agree. Great
that wraps
time.
up E3. That's a much better wrap up than Capcom.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Mike and I don't want to talk about that.
We don't speak about that.
Imagine if we did Bamco.
Yeah.
7-minute dev interview about one game.
Yeah.
That was it.
Hard pass.
Yeah, unfortunately, that next year hopefully things will be better. All around. But yeah, good end the E3. Good show in general. A lot of good games. A lot of good deep dives. Parris, if you're seeing this or if you end up seeing this, great job.
He was on the Discord and everyone's congratulating him. That was really good.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
So Jesse, Daniel, thank you guys.
Absolutely.
A lot of fun. Definitely hit the like button, subscribe. Keep coming back for more Xbox content.
We've put out a couple of new videos today and yesterday. We've been really pumping it out, so go watch those.
If you want to support what we do, we have a Patreon as well.
Yep, listen to these guys. But all right, I'm going to sign off on that.